Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now, we are joined by Neil, Arwin, Chocolate Sayin, 10th Man, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hey, good morning.
Yo, good morning.
How are you, Nathan? Can you explain who that guy was and why he's trying to collect Bitcoin?
He thinks he can prove a sphere. In the pre-show, if you've been watching since the pre-show, we've had a dude that's been sent in because he thinks he can win Bitcoin from David Weiss. All he's done so far is beg the question, then moaned that I've pointed out in begging the question.
That's after he admitted. That's after he admitted he needed a flat surface to get an angle with the sextant.
Yeah, sextants can't work on a sphere, proving the Earth is flat. They need a straight, flat baseline in order to do so. They don't work on a spherical surface. That's correct.
But if I build a balloon...
Well, if I beg the question of a sphere and then do it, yeah, that would be begging the question. Any evidence of a physical, geometric sphere-edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
No, you're going to need R for that.
Black Swan killed that, and the sextant reinforced it.
All you need is some spherical geometry, man. It's all just math. That's all you need.
All you need is to beg the question and then reify a position in the distance known as the horizon into an Earth curve edge for boats to fall over. Yeah. We encourage all participants of Discord to try and answer these questions. So I'm going to repeat them as we've got somebody who thinks he's got Bitcoin. I'm sure he can overcome every one of these questions. Any evidence of Earth curve?
Well,
You talking to me?
Spherical geometry just
Wait,
fine.
we're paying out Bitcoin for Earth curve now.
You can prove the Earth's sphere. David Weiss will give you three Bitcoin.
Oh shit! Who's collected already?
Nobody.
That should be pretty quick and
Nobody
easy,
ever
right?
will.
Should just wrap that up real quick, huh? Is that what the dude before was doing here?
Yeah, he
Is
wants
he
Bitcoin.
still here? Oh,
Yes. Same thing like science, right? Everybody thought there was going to be academia to come out and just shut this flat Earth down. And here we are.
What about Earth curve then? We've got any evidence of it?
Well, if we did, someone on the panel would have gotten the Bitcoin already.
Nobody claimed the horizon was geometric.
It's quite an important detail, this.
Maybe you would at least try now.
We need Earth curve. To be on a sphere, we must have Earth curve. Where is it? Why aren't I being told? What's going on?
I mean, that's essential.
Oh, Mike, you want Bitcoin? Where's Earth curve?
I'm trying to send you a picture.
Of Earth curve? Is it a picture of the horizon?
It actually is yeah.
Oh, really? The horizon's not Earth curve, Mike. Didn't you know? Would have been advisable to have kept up to date with the flat Earth debate. The horizon's a position where the sky appears to meet the ground. It's not a geometric Earth curve limitation. Didn't you know that?
Are you guys getting the picture I'm sending?
It's of the horizon, isn't it, Mike? We've already established what the picture's of. I don't need to see a picture of a horizon to tell you the horizon's not Earth curve. We've debunked that.
How?
Because it's beyond the geometric limitations of an Earth sphere radius 3959. If the Earth was a sphere radius 3959, then every distance to horizon could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's your geometric Earth curve mathematics that give you those distances. And we have imagery that shows that the horizon's beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere radius 3959. Therefore, the horizon is not Earth curve.
Just tell me if you're getting the picture.
Of
because
horizons?
it's not taken from
Sorry,
the
you keep trying to show us this shit. Did you not hear me? The
It's
horizon's not
it's
Earth curve. Are you deaf?
not taken from.
Sorry,
It's
it's
not
a
taken
horizon,
from the
right?
surface.
Should we do this again? Because it seems like it's fell on deaf ears. It's the horizon, right, Mike? Yes, it is, yeah. Yeah, the horizon's not Earth curve, Mike.
So if I send you a picture of a curving horizon, that doesn't show a curvature of the
I'll
Earth.
say it slower. You're thick as fuck. The horizon isn't Earth curve, Mike. Do I need to say it even slower? Do you want to send it
So,
me again and tell me it's
you wanna-
bending? Because it's a horizon that's
draw
bent. It's not Earth curve.
Oh,
It's a
so what is
horizon.
it then?
It's a horizon, an apparent position where the sky appears to meet the land or sea. That's what it is. It's a horizon. For you, it's a
Okay.
geometric limitation. That would mean that you can't see past it because it's a rock, an Earth with a sphere edge, leading edge that blocks things. That's what your horizon is as a sphere believer. We've debunked that, Mike. We've got imagery that shows it's beyond geometric limitations. We're told, as a result of that, from your own side, that nobody, quote, nobody claims the horizon is Earth curve, end quote. We are not going to see physical geometry, end quote. The geometric horizon only exists in the maths, end quote. These are all quotes from your own side. So what on earth makes you think that the horizon's Earth curve, Mike? Obviously not keeping up to date with this debate, are you? Nobody claims the horizon's Earth curve, Mike. You should speak to your own side before you come here.
How about if I am?
Well, I'll point out that it's beyond the geometric limitations of an Earth sphere radius 3959, and we call that the black swan. Obviously, you never heard of it.
And what does that prove?
That the horizon's not Earth curve? That's about the fourth time I've said it. Maybe if you pin your ears back and actually listen to what you're being told. The horizon, fifth time. I kid you not, audience, fifth time this guy's been told this. The horizon's not Earth curve.
Yeah.
Maybe if
let
you
me
talk
ask you
straight through the middle of it, it'll change that. Maybe if you rumpus the shit out of me telling you for the fifth time that the horizon you think bends, yeah, that's not a physical location. It's not geometric. And it must be if we're on a sphere. We've debunked it. If it was, it would be at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, and we have imagery that's beyond that. So it's not Earth curve.
So
it's not a geometric limitation. Maybe if you talk while I explain it to you for the fifth time, we'll all as an audience understand why you don't understand it. Because you don't listen and are incapable of actually listening to an explanation that debunks your stupid notion that is denied by every single person on your own side. I'll say again, quote, Tim Osman, somebody on your side, vehement troll for the Globe, nobody claims the horizon's Earth curve, end quote. The geometric horizon only exists in the maths. That's another guy from your own side, vehement defender of the Globe called the Rumpus. So you're wrong. The fact that you don't know that you're wrong, and I've had to tell you that we've got imagery beyond the geometric limitations of an assertion of an Earth sphere edge at radius 3959, just makes you behind the curve, mate. Slow, not really up to date with this discussion. But I'll tell you for a sixth time, the horizon's not Earth curve. Comprende?
That's correct.
So when I look at the Earth and I look at the horizon at the surface, I see a straight line. That
And
correct?
who cares? Doesn't matter what it's doing, it's not Earth curve. Hello? You still want to run with your it's bending at a certain altitude shite? Doesn't matter what it's doing, it's not Earth curve. It's not a geometric limitation to a sphere.
He's not getting it.
No, I realise that. He still wants to tell me it's bending at altitude. I've got a picture of it bending. What, the horizon? The apparent position where the sky meets the ground? Wowee. That's not Earth curve. We've debunked that.
It moves.
All right,
and
so
rocks don't move.
I've also gone out and I've taken some measurements. And if I look at 3 mountains that are in a row, why is it that I can look at a mountain that is at 2,400 feet, across a ridge that's at 2,300 feet, but I have to be higher than, so that line is sloping down, right? If we have a mountain that's at 2,400 feet and I'm looking across a ridge that's at 2,300 feet, that line must be sloping down.
Sorry, you never heard of perspective?
Now let me finish.
Sorry, I asked you a question. Have you ever heard of perspective? Do you
Of course I
understand
have, yeah.
So you understand that things get smaller into the distance then?
Absolutely.
So why would you
Absolutely.
assert that they're sloping down?
So
why
if-
would you
if I-
assert... Sorry, we're trying to establish whether or not you beg the question. You said that they're sloping down? Is that your assumption that they're curving away from
We're
you on a
doing-
sphere? Just need
Wait,
to
no,
establish
hold
whether or
on.
not, while you talk straight through the middle of my question in regards to what you've stated. You said they're sloping down. Is that you begging the question that they're curving away from you 8 inches per mile squared by any chance?
So let's talk triangulation. You wanted to talk triangulation?
Sorry, I want
a
to
minute ago.
ascertain whether or not when you said sloping down, you were begging the question. It's the third time I've asked you to clarify what you've said and you want to change the subject. Don't talk through me. Don't talk through me. Just listen to the fourth repetition of something you've tried to slope away from. That would be sloping down. Really? Is that not you begging the question of a sphere? You don't seem to want to answer. Fourth time.
I'm trying to understand the situation I've observed.
Yeah, by saying it's sloping away. So when you've looked at something, you've decided it's sloping away. That would be begging the question. Do you understand that's the 5th time I've told you?
No, that's actually not
I
what
understand.
I said.
So you didn't say sloping away. This isn't a live stream with an audience listening to every
if we
word you
have-
say and talk through me, pointing out that I am not deaf. This is broadcast live and recorded. And I did hear you say that it's sloping away. That is what you said. You're going to deny it because it's you begging the question now? Really? We heard you.
I said sloping down.
Oh, so sloping down. Is that you begging the question that it's sloping away 8 inches per mile squared? Or not?
No, it's not. No,
Oh, right.
no.
Oh, well, then, have you heard of perspective?
So I've got this. Yes, I've heard of perspective.
So hashtag shit shrinks.
Absolutely.
Cat got your tongue? Your stuff gets smaller as you get further away from it. Is that shocking to you? Because you wanted to assume it was curving away from you, didn't you?
No.
Well, you said it was sloping away.
Can I finish the scenario so that we can understand what we're talking about? and
Are
then
we
can
talking about it
discuss
sloping away 8 inches per mile squared? Because you're not to tell us, are you begging the question or not?
No, I'm not saying that.
Oh, okay. Feel free.
Okay. I've got a mountain that's at 2,500 feet. I've got a ridge that's at 2,300 feet. Right? The mountain is south of the ridge. I'm north of the ridge. If I draw a line from the 2,500 foot mountain to the 2,300 foot ridge, that should be a straight line. Is that correct?
And how are you drawing this? Are you on the left-hand side of the page, the ridge is in the middle, and the mountain's on the right-hand side of the page?
We can do that. For
Can
sure,
we?
yeah.
I'm asking how you
So-
will be doing it.
Well, I observed it in real life, so I didn't. I'm just trying to draw a picture of what observed.
Yeah, I'm not thick. I can follow you describing drawing a picture of something. I'm asking, is that picture drawn with your head in view on the left-hand side of the page, and then the two targets that you're describing also on the same page, with a line drawn between them, yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, well, we don't see the world that way. When have you ever seen the side of your own head and two targets you're looking at the same time?
If I line two things up, there must be a straight line between.
Sorry, you didn't seem to respond to my question. We've established that you've drawn this in orthographic view. Do you know what orthographic view is? I take that as a no.
Okay.
Not
so-
okay. I'll repeat my objection just for you to completely dance past it after a short pause for a second time. So, when in unholy hell have you seen the side of your own head and two targets for you to draw a line between all three of them? When has that happened?
If somebody was standing next to me and took a picture, that would happen.
Sorry, so, and the picture they took would be of your view. that you're drawing of this mountain and this ridge? Their picture would be of your view, would it?
It would not.
So I'll ask the question for a third time, Mr. Dance Around the Question. When have you observed the side of your own head in a picture you have taken of two targets?
I have not.
So why are you describing the world that way? When you describe the world that way, it removes perspective. Hello?
Excellent.
Are you deaf? Are you deaf? So, this clown has drawn the world in orthographic view. I'll have the picture on screen now. So, according to this Muppet, when he's going to strawman the shit out of us with how things work in an orthographic representation we don't see, we have the side of our own smegging head in the shot, and the targets that we're seeing. That's not representative of the world. It removes perspective.
Okay, so what?
Not okay! You dumb shit! What part of it removes perspective? Do you think that's okay? No, my friend. Perspective's very real, and when you decide that you're going to justify how the world looks as a sphere, you remove it and have your own head in shot. That's not how we see the world. Not okay.
Then let's take the diagrammatic representation of what's happening out of the discussion.
Okay.
And let's look at it from
Diagrammatic.
my eyeball then. If the orthographic view is unacceptable, then let's look at it from my eyeball.
Okie dokie. What's the angular
I'm looking
resolution
at-
of... Okay,
I'm
what's
looking at a
what's the angular resolution of your eyeball? Obviously, we're dealing with perspective. What's the angular resolution limit of your eyeball?
I don't know.
Why are you telling me about this then? You
Because I'd
appreciate...
like
Sorry,
perhaps you-
excuse me.
So
Excuse me.
explain-
Excuse me. You said we're going to take it from the perspective of our eyeball. That would include the diffraction limit. But you don't know what that is. Why are you talking to us about this?
So explain to me how.
Why am I going to explain fucking anything when you're here to win Bitcoin? No, my friend. You need to understand and appreciate that you haven't got the slightest clue about this subject. You're about to discuss things from the eye and you don't know what the diffraction limit is.
For shame.
You idiot.
So we've
Why are you
got-
here? You think you deserve Bitcoin? You're being humiliated. Describe it from the eye.
We've
The first
got-
thing I need you to do is tell me the angular resolution limit of an eyeball. And if you can't, then you won't know where things will disappear into the distance, will you? Things are going to disappear into the distance with diffraction. You appreciate that, right?
Do 3 points define a line?
Sorry, why are you asking me something? Do you appreciate that our eyeballs have a diffraction limit, yes or no?
Yes.
Right, why aren't you taking this into consideration then? You don't know the diffraction limit of an eyeball, but you're about to describe how we see the world, but you don't know the first thing about how eyeballs work.
Do 3 points define a line?
Sorry, do you not understand what I am saying to you? If we're going to discuss how we see things, I'm going to expect you, as the ball-believing clown, to tell me precisely how it works, including the point at which things disappear into the distance with angular resolution limitations. That's diffraction. Now, if you don't know that, you're going to start detailing where things go behind, what, the horizon? That's not Earth curve? Because I would assert that that's a diffraction limit based on the Rayleigh criterion. And you're going to be calculating that from our eyeball if you're attempting to win your Bitcoin for your proof of your globe. You're not going to ask me how to do it. Do you understand?
Do 3 points define a line?
So is this going to win you Bitcoin, asking me a question about how points make a line?
If I observe one mountain peak behind another mountain peak, there must be a straight line between those two mountain peaks and my eye.
Not according to the globe, there isn't. According to the globe, the standard refraction, 7/6R in standard form, terrestrial refraction. Do you know what that is?
So does that have the
Did
same
you hear my
curvature-
question? I responded to you. I listened. You asserted that you've got a straight line between three objects. And I respond, not on a globe. You have terrestrial refraction. Are you unaware of this fact?
I am not.
You're not aware of terrestrial refraction?
No. I answered your question. I am not unaware.
You're not unaware. Why are you asserting you've got a straight line between anything and anything then? You haven't on a globe. You're wrong. Sorry, don't just talk straight through the devastating point that I make in rebuttal to your claim that you've got a straight line between things when you believe you're on a sphere. No, you do not. Do you understand?
If we're on...
No, you don't have a straight line as you have asserted on a globe. You are wrong. On a globe, you don't understand your own claim there's supposed to be refraction always. So no, when you state that there's a straight line between everything, no, you are wrong. You don't understand your own religion of a globe. Comprende? Not a straight line. You are wrong about your own claim.
Do
How
we
do you
have a
think you're
straight
doing?
line on
Gee, you're
flat
doing
Earth?
well. I'm having to educate you on your globe claim. You've just told me there's a straight line. You are wrong. You're yet to acknowledge that. How do you think you're doing? Having been educated about there not being straight lines on a globe ever, atmosphere, sphere-shaped air, light bending around it at a standard rate of r, always. Never a straight line. That was your last statement that I have challenged now 4 times. So, fuckwit, do you understand that your last statement about having a straight line on a globe's wrong? Yes or no?
Okay, I accept that.
Why did you tell me that you got a straight line then, you stupid clown?
Do we have...
No, we don't have a straight line that you said we had, you stupid clown. Why did you tell me you had a straight line, clown? You were wrong about your own stupid globe claim. Why would you be misapprehending your own claim? Hello, you stupid retard. You've just told me you've got a straight line on a globe. You don't. I'm a flat earther, and I'm having to correct you on your own globe claim.
So I'm going to step into your flat Earth and ask you the same question.
Why? You're here to prove a globe to get Bitcoin. Why are you asking me questions about a flat Earth when you are clearly here, as declared by yourself, to win Bitcoin? Not to win an argument with me, but to win a Bitcoin based on your proof of a sphere. All you've done so far is beg the question, and you've got a very limited understanding of your own sphere faith. I'm having to correct you on your own sphere belief about straight lines you haven't got. 5th time.
Do we have a straight line on a flat Earth?
Sorry, why are you asking me this? Is that going to win you Bitcoin? You're supposed to be proving a globe, but the 2nd time I've told you in the last 20 seconds.
All right, let's put Bitcoin aside and just have an...
Why? That's what you came for. So you accept defeat. You're not going to be getting Bitcoin out of this visit then. You accept that.
Sure, that'd be fine.
Now fuck off. Get the fuck out of my hangout. You're a retard. You don't deserve to be. You don't understand your own globe claim. You certainly aren't getting any Bitcoin out of Dave Weiss. Do you understand what I've just said to you? Do you understand? Do you understand that I, as a flat earther, have just told you to get lost because you're thick? You don't deserve to be here. I don't expect to educate my opponent on his own fucking claim. That's you, having to be educated on your own fucking claim by your flat earth opponent. Do you feel stupid? Because you are.
I'm trying to learn here, my friend.
Trying to learn? You're not trying to learn. You're a lying bastard.
I haven't lied about it.
You said you were here to get Bitcoin. Now you're telling me you're here to learn, you liar.
I'm always here to...
Sorry, you said you were here to get Bitcoin. You are here to win Bitcoin, not learn. You are here to tell us how Earth's a sphere, educate us and win Bitcoin. Don't lie.
And I'm willing,
Don't lie.
And I'm willing to graciously admit that you have used your superior intellect to prove me completely wrong, and I'm now here to learn.
Good.
He wants to
Sextant
do over.
no worries. Sextant proves you're on a flat plane, can't work on a sphere. To triangulate the GP of a position below a star anywhere on Earth requires a flat baseline for thousands and thousands of miles in all directions. Earth is obviously observably, measurably and navigatably flat. There is no Earth curve. One of the fundamental premises of being on a sphere would require you have Earth curve. We've debunked it based on your maths and your assertion that Earth curve blocks boats, buildings and things fall over the edge of it. That's your globe claim that we've debunked. Sextants only work on a sphere and you haven't got Earth curve.
Okay, one of us is breaking up here, but I think I got the gist of that.
Okay, I told you to get lost. I don't want to educate you. You disgust me. Do you understand that? I don't want to educate you. I want you to go away, as I tell you. Go away. Go and learn your own subject. I am not in the habit of educating retards who think they can win Bitcoin. That would be you. So no.
Hang out. You're welcome.
No.
You're welcome to.
Shh.
You're welcome to cut me off. But until you do,
Hush
I'm
now.
here to have
Hush now. Hush
talk
now.
with you.
Hush now. That means shut up. So, no, I don't want to educate you. You are an arrogant prick who thought he could win Bitcoin here. You lost. You've conceded your loss.
I
Now
agree.
fuck
I have.
off. Now go away. Maybe learn your own stupid nonsense about a globe before you try and challenge us on it. Because we know far more about your own stupid faith than you do. Is that not obvious to you?
It's actually not, no.
Oh, really?
You know, dude.
Sorry, you told us that you could get a straight line on a sphere, and I had to educate your dumbass on how you couldn't do that. Then you said you knew of terrestrial refraction. Well, if you knew of terrestrial refraction, Mr. Superiority, oh yes, you were so clever, pointing out that you don't have a straight line, something you very clearly asserted incorrectly about a globe. So, do you at least appreciate that I have educated you in the fact you stated incorrectly about having a straight line on a globe? I have,
Yes, sir.
have educated your dumb ass here.
Yes, sir, you have.
Good! Now fuck off, retard. You don't know anything about your own stupid claim. You thought you
Yeah,
had a
in a
horizon
video
that was
game.
Earth curve. Again, I had to correct your dumbass because you're not up to date with the flat Earth debate. The horizon's not Earth curve. I had to tell you, the retard, that 5 times. So
Is
what
there
are
a
you still
straight line
doing
on
here?
that?
What are you still doing here? Go away. We're not going to educate you. Go and wander off into the wilderness of ignorance and find out for your bloody self. Because I'm not going to waste my time educating you while you interrupt every word I say. And then moan that you're not getting a chance to beg the question long enough.
Nathan, may I remind the audience that he started off by saying he does celestial navigation and he owns a sextant. From there, you tore him apart by good questions. He had to admit he needed a straight line for triangulation to the GP of the star, and it was over immediately. Then he says, yeah, but if I beg the question that I live on the sphere, I could use spherical geometry. And then you said, does the sextant work that way? No. So this guy's a fool.
It's in a video game.
Was he aware that we've been told for like a year and a half that you can't have a straight line because everything's refracted all the time, everywhere?
No, he
always?
wasn't. No. And then with a smirk
Oh,
on his
buddy,
face, he
buddy,
thought it
that's a
was
problem.
amusing that I'd educated him. Yeah? Can't quite believe
That's
that
a
he's been
problem.
educated in his own model by a flat earther about how he doesn't have a straight line, something he boldly stated that he did have. Doesn't understand his own
Well, that's
model.
Ouch.
That's a
Yeah,
perfect example of the video game analogy you give. He got his head shot off and he wants a do-over. He wants another life.
Yeah, but he shot his own head off by saying he needs a straight line.
Yeah, they do that.
Brother, we've been told for a year and a half you can't have a straight line on the globe. Everything's refracted. Maybe you should go back and check that out.
Oh, he knows of terrestrial refraction, but knowing of something didn't mean he understood it. You know, comprehension not his strong point. He knew of it, but didn't realise that meant that his statement of having a straight line was completely idiotic. On a globe, because he doesn't. Maybe you'd like to chuckle about how we didn't educate you here. Because we absolutely did educate you, Mike, about your stupidity on your own sphere belief. You just need to say thank you. You said you
Yeah,
wanted
thank you.
educating, I've done that for you.
Absolutely. Thank you. No,
My
thank you,
pleasure.
absolutely.
That's my pleasure, Mike. That's what I do here. I educate retards who think they're on a sphere daily. So it's absolutely my pleasure to educate you, the retard globe believer, Mike. My pleasure.
So,
No, Mike. So how do you hold in your head two opposing thoughts? First you say it curves, then you say it doesn't curve, it's a straight line. You've said both those. How do you hold that at one time?
I'm trying to figure it out, right? So I'm trying to make the things that I observe on the
No,
planet.
you came
match.
to win 3 Bitcoin. You came to win 3 Bitcoins.
That's
Does
right.
that
He's a
sound like
liar.
someone who's trying to
Yeah.
figure it out?
He's not a lot. He's lying. So he's now in a position where he's telling my audience that he just came to try and figure it out. No, you thought you had it figured out, didn't you, Mike?
I've put the Bitcoin thing aside.
No, you came here to win Bitcoin, then lost badly, got shot in the face, and are now trying to relinquish what you actually came here to do because you lost. You came here because you thought you had it all figured out, so much so you thought you could get Bitcoin. That's what you thought.
I came here to win Bitcoin.
Yeah, and you didn't, did you, stupid idiot? you got your ass handed to you by a flat earther, that would be me.
Wait, have you ever come to the show before?
No.
Yes, he
Have I?
has.
Yeah, you.
No, this is my first time.
I'm sure it's a
Oh,
real
different
pleasure.
one?
And you came here to win Bitcoin by proving the globe.
Correct.
And you've never, have you ever listened to the show before?
No, I haven't.
Bad move.
Oh, that's terrible.
Just so you know, what Dave does is, Dave Weiss puts out his offer of Bitcoin and then sends people who are so arrogant as to assume they can prove a sphere to me. And then I rip them a new asshole mic for a live audience. It's really amusing. People give me money for doing it. And I'm going to shout those people out right now. The people who enjoyed listening to how humiliating it is for a globe believer who thinks he's so sorted in his belief that he can win Bitcoin with it, and then later say, oh, no, I'll put all that aside. Now I've had my ass pulled through my chin. Yeah, no, mate, Mike, you lost really badly here. Then asked us to educate your dumb ass, and we refused and told you to get lost. You're still here. Shout out to Mercia Silver Patriot, who says, laughing my ass off, it's flat. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. Also, shout out to Chef Brody, who I assume put something too rude, otherwise it would have had a chat next to it. But thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. And I think there was another one as well from Godzilla37. Can we change the expression when pigs can fly to when virus finally tells the truth? We can do, Godzilla. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it.
But wait a second. There's been somebody else before. This ain't the first guy from Dave Weiss, right?
No, second attempt. Somebody's tried once
Second,
before.
okay. So I was right. Okay, good.
It's not the
You
same
see,
guy,
I
though.
keep up with the flat Earth debate.
There are no winning globe arguments anymore after 4 years of doing this. There's nothing else left. There are no globe claims that can be proven out to actually prove the sphere. They all start with a begging the question fallacy, and there are no exceptions.
You know what's funny, though? As soon as he started with that picture and the mountains, I knew every area he was going in. And I saw
You breaking up, Neil? Well, that was fun. We only got one housekeeping question done. Another shout out to Mercia Silver Patriot. He says, America, just no A. America. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
negative.
That would be any evidence that we spin.
Some people might say the movement of the sun.
Some people might say a gyro compass.
All right. So Earth turns underneath the gyro compass at 15 degrees an hour. That sort of thing.
Thanks, Bob.
How does the gyro compass always find north?
It doesn't.
Oh, so gyro theodolite.
Do you
When
not
you're
know
underground,
Sorry. Do you know, it seems that when I contradict something you say, you just completely ignore it. You think gyro compasses find north? You don't know how a gyro compass works, do you?
It's funny. It certainly seems to.
Seems to. No. You are wrong.
All right.
Okay.
Educate.
They have to point it north. They spin it up and then point it north using a normal compass. And periodically, maybe you'd like to pop yourself on mute while I point out how fucking idiotic your stupid claim that gyroscope compasses point north by their own volition. They don't. They have to be pointed that way. Did you not know that?
A directional gyroscope has to be aimed to the compass, yes, but a gyro compass uses precession to find north.
Right, it's pointed north.
It's actually not. It's actually not. See what a gyro theodolite is.
A gyro theodolite or a gyro compass?
No, a gyro theodolite, which is.
So why did you say gyro compass then?
Because a gyro theodolite is based on the gyro compass.
Sorry, but a gyro compass needs to be pointed north, though, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. If you take a gyro theodolite underground, where you can't see celestial bodies and you can't orient yourself based on north, based on the celestial bodies, and there are large deposits of iron underground, so a compass won't work, you can set up a gyrotheodolite, and over time, it will precess and settle down and show true north.
When you say set it up, what does that involve?
You mount it on a tripod, and you hit the on switch, and you let it wait till the Earth is turning underneath it, and it precesses, and because of the way it precesses, it has to settle on north.
I see. So you're asserting that a compass precesses because Earth is turning underneath. So Earth is a non-inertial turning reference frame and the gyroscope's in the inertial reference frame. And because it's fixed in the inertial reference frame, Earth turns underneath it. That's what you're saying, right?
All I'm saying is that when you're underground and you have no other way to reference true north, a gyrotheodolite will find true north for you. And it can't do that on a stationary body.
Right. How does this prove you're on a sphere?
It proves something is rotating, or else there will be no precession.
Well, the gyro's rotating.
Gyroscopes precess when the axis of rotation is turned.
One of their inherent properties of a gyro is that they don't precess.
Gyroscopes maintain their orientation in space.
So not precessing then?
However, if you force the axis to move, then it precesses 90 degrees away from the force that you put on the axis. Takes a bicycle wheel, spin it. It attempts to maintain its orientation in space, but if you twist the axle, it will respond 90 degrees away from the way you twist the axle.
And how does this prove we're spinning?
If you put the axis of the axle such that it's twisted by the rotation of the Earth, then it will precess, and it can only settle down when it's facing true north.
So it's being twisted by the precession of the Earth turning beneath the gyro then?
No, the gyro is forced to turn with the planet, which forces it to precess.
So it's moving in its cage as Earth turns underneath it then?
It's allowed to move in one direction. It's forced to turn with the Earth in the other direction, and that forces it, the force of precession then causes it to find north.
A precession, is it moving in the cage, according to you? I'm just trying to establish why it would do this. You're saying because Earth's turning beneath it.
I'm just saying that the only thing that we know that will force a gyroscope to precess is when you twist the axis of rotation, when you twist the axle, right? So if the Earth is stationary, it won't precess.
Wholly incorrect.
Hold on. So,
Yep, totally.
so hold
incorrect.
on.
That's right.
So you're saying if Earth does turn beneath, it will precess, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So
Then
that would
we'd have
mean that we've got
deviation.
two reference frames, non-inertial and inertial, right?
I'm just telling you that...
You just don't seem to want to answer anything I ever put to you. I'm confirming your position. Do you not understand your own position? Is that why you're struggling to just say yes when I confirm your position? I'm not challenging it. I'm confirming it.
Because I will say yes, but I know you're leading me down a path that is going to end up with me supposedly looking like an idiot. All I know is that a gyrotheodolite works.
Well, okay, so that doesn't prove anything then. It just works. So unless you can assert something to do with Earth rotation, it's got nothing to do with proving Earth rotation. Unless you actually want to make the assertion, you seem hesitant.
How does...
Don't ask me something. It's your claim. Stop. Why are you asking me? This is your claim. I'm leading you to actually get to the end where you make a conclusion about your claim that in some vague way proves Earth spinning. Yet, so far, zero. You're not explaining how it proves Earth spinning. And when I try and lead you to explain how it proves Earth spinning, you go, all I know is it works. Well, okay, well then you haven't explained how it proves Earth spins, so should we move on? Because you haven't explained it. It doesn't prove Earth spins then, unless you're prepared to actually lay down the claim. At which point I will rip your head off, that's right.
All right, so let's follow your trail along then.
Not my trail, no. Your claim that you are making is there are two reference frames, non-inertial and inertial. That's your claim. I've asked you to clarify that that's what you're claiming. It is. You're just hesitant to agree that that is actually what you're claiming.
You're making me claim it, but I...
No, that's what you're inferring. That's what you're describing. Hello, that's not me pushing you into making a claim. You've made it, and I've clarified it.
It's what your gyro suggests.
All you got to do is tell us how your gyro proves Earth spins. Then I'll shoot you in the face. But you're reluctant to actually lay down how it proves Earth spins. So once you've done that, I can move on and rip that to pieces. But you don't seem to want to. Very sensible, I would say. We'll just do this little dance for 10 minutes, shall we?
No. There is a misconception between what a directional gyroscope that has to be set to north and then maintains its orientation relative to space is a heading indicator, as we call it in the aviation industry. But a gyro compass, which is what the gyro theodolite is based on, uses a different, sorry, words failing me here for a second, but it uses a different principle of the gyroscope, which is that if you take the axle and you force it to rotate, it will precess 90 degrees out. And
that's not the principle of why a gyro compass works. It's not the purpose of a gyro compass.
Like I said, there's two different types. There is the type that we have in an airplane that we set, or a boat that we set to north, and then it maintains its orientation after that. But there is also
the gyro maintains its orientation. But what's the purpose of a gyro compass? Why are you setting it to north before you go anywhere? And then what does the gyro compass serve for you? What does it do? Why have you bothered? Why don't you just take a compass or a gyro? What's the benefit of combining the two? Because if you don't know that...
So that kind of gyro compass is used to give a pilot or a captain of a boat a constant, steady reference to north, because a compass, when it's subjected to acceleration errors, will swing off north temporarily and then swing back again. And so a gyro compass, that style that we're talking about right now, gives us a nice, steady heading reference regardless of the acceleration of the airplane or the turbulence that it encounters. But I'm not talking about that.
On, slow down. You're saying that the gyroscope steadies the magnet. Is that you telling me what a gyro compass does?
That's what a heading indicator that's gyroscopically based does.
Not really true, is it? No.
But I'm not talking about
that's
that.
Not what it does. In fact, I'll be bold enough to say that's completely incorrect.
I'm not talking about that.
My friend, can you let him respond to you without doing what you did to me, which is talk through the second word he says? Thank you.
I'll say your last description of how and what a gyro compass is for is wholly incorrect. Are you able to maybe clarify or explain correctly what the purpose of a gyro compass is and how those two things, the gyroscope and the compass, work together? I'd say fundamentally for what purpose?
Well, I'm actually not talking about that kind of gyro compass. There is a gyro compass which uses precession to find north.
No. For a gyro compass to find precession, what would have to be happening? The Earth would have to be rotating underneath, wouldn't it?
It's the second person that's attempted this with you. I attempted this with you. So correct. Do you want to carry on, or can I, Adam?
All yours, mate.
So Earth's turning underneath as a non-inertial turning reference frame to show this deviation in gyros. Well, if Earth's turning underneath to cause deviation at 15 degrees an hour, then we'd see drift, exactly as is claimed by the globe. The globe claims we observe Coriolis drift. In case you're unaware of how this actually pans out, Neil deGrasse Tyson asserts that Earth turns underneath things like footballs to cause apparent deflection from the stands as Earth turns underneath a football. Have you heard that claim? Just need a yes or no.
Yes.
So you appreciate that Earth is claimed to have Coriolis deflection then?
Yes.
Well, if Earth was turning underneath an aeroplane, at 15 degrees an hour for me to see it seem to drift at 15 degrees an hour. That would shorten flight times. A flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles would only take an hour and a half because as the plane left the ground, I would observe it from the ground seeming to drift because Earth's turning underneath it at 15 degrees an hour, massively reducing its flight time. That doesn't happen. There is no drift. We'd notice.
Again, this is not the instrument that I'm talking about.
Sorry, we established that your instrument relies upon Earth turning beneath it. You said yes when Adam got you to clarify something you refused to clarify for me. Now you've clarified, you're claiming Earth turns underneath. That would be Coriolis effect, 15 degrees an hour drift. That would mean we're turning underneath aeroplanes and hot air balloons and drones at 15 degrees an hour to see them drift. That's what Coriolis is. Launch a drone off a roundabout, watch it seem to drift because you're turning beneath. That's what Earth's claimed to do. Launch a drone from Earth, claim to be turning underneath it 15 degrees an hour. Well, that would mean that your drone would whiz away from you at 15 degrees an hour, whatever speed it's claimed Earth's turning beneath it. That doesn't happen. Also, Charlotte to LA would only take an hour and a half instead of 4.5 hours because Earth would be turning underneath us, for us to see this deflection. We don't. Those flights aren't reduced. There is no Coriolis deflection. It's nonsense.
So, that's not how a gyrotheodolite based on a gyro compass.
Couldn't give a shit. We got you to clarify that Earth was claimed to be turning underneath it. That's all we need. You saying Earth turns underneath this instrument. The moment you say that, we say, if Earth's turning underneath the instrument, then you're claiming Coriolis. That's a globe claim that Earth turns beneath stuff to cause deflection. Well, that would shorten flight times. Third time I've said it. Maybe tell me that this isn't what you're describing in something that you've already clarified you're claiming Earth turns beneath.
The instrument is forced, a gyro compass, the instrument is forced to turn with the rotation of the Earth, and this causes precession. So the Earth is not turning underneath it. It's forcing it to turn with it.
Yeah, so that would be Earth turning, and that's claimed to cause Coriolis deflection. This is now the 5th time I have said this to you. If Earth is turning as you claim, then we will experience Coriolis effect precisely as the globe claims. I explained what Coriolis effect is, and you agreed that you understood Tyson's example of Earth turning beneath the football. Now, if that claim that Earth turns beneath is true, then it would shorten flight times. That's 5 times I've said that.
A precessing gyro compass does not move across the face of the Earth, and so Coriolis is irrelevant to this. We are talking about a gyroscope precessing because its axis of rotation is being forced to change.
Yeah, by a second reference frame.
Not this gyroscope.
Sorry,
is
not.
moving.
Yes. That would be 2 reference frames. Say no, so I can laugh at you. Say no, that's not 2 reference frames.
What is causing
Cat got your tongue?
to...
You don't seem to be confirming. That's 2 reference frames you're describing.
I'm describing a gyroscope which is precessing because
that would be 2 reference frames then. I mean, do I need to say this 16 times? You just need to say, yeah, that's right, that's 2 reference frames. That's what you are claiming.
Because as soon as I say 2 reference frames,
I'll rip your head off and shoot you in the face and then teabag you with your nonsense that would shorten flight times. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The moment you claim there's 2 reference frames, I'll say, well, that's what's claimed to cause Coriolis deflection, and we don't see that effect. That's right, I'll shoot you in the face the moment you say, yeah, for this to process, it needs 2 reference frames. That's right.
My gyrotheodolite is not going from Los Angeles to Atlanta.
Doesn't matter. The effect is debunked by the fact that those 2 reference frames are not manifest.
Why does
my example have it with 2 reference frames, but then that example doesn't transpose across to anything else? Because it doesn't happen. You're just begging the question.
Why does the gyroscope...
Why are you asking me? It's your claim. Why are you asking me why it does that? It's your claim.
I'm saying it...
Yeah, you're saying that it's 2 reference frames. You're just reluctant to do so. And that would mean that flight times should be reduced.
Turning. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that requires 2 reference frames, which would shorten flight times because it means Earth's got a separate reference frame.
To be moved, which causes it to precess 90
Yeah,
degrees.
that's a second reference frame. Just keep denying what I'm pointing out to you over and over again, that you're claiming 2 reference frames and that would cause drift. That's Coriolis. You're saying, oh, well, let's ignore that. No, that's what debunks your claim.
An airliner moving from Charlotte to Los Angeles is completely different than a gyroscope precessing because its axis of rotation is being disturbed.
Right, the 2 both involve 2 reference frames. Cat got your tongue? Cat got your tongue? My devastating rebuttal that these 2 things are in fact the same? That they both involve 2 reference frames?
If the gyroscope is firmly fixed to the planet Earth and is forced to
Right,
move
why are you
with
assuming
the
that?
planet,
Why are you begging the question?
because
I
they
told you, don't justify it, just don't do it. Don't beg the question here. That's not what we do here. You don't use fallacious reasoning. I already shouted at you in the pre-show for begging the question. Don't just say, if we're on a turning Earth.
sitting on a tripod which is connected to the surface of the Earth.
Yep.
The gyroscope is exhibiting precession, which it cannot do if it's stationary.
Sorry, this gyroscope, you're saying cannot drift if it's stationary.
I'm saying the gyroscope will not exhibit precession, which is different than drift. If
No, it's not.
The axis
No,
of
it's not.
rotation.
No, it's not.
If
No,
the
it isn't.
axis of
No, it isn't. You are wrong. Is that what you think? You think precession and drift are different? No, they're not.
Yeah, afraid you need to investigate how a gyroscope works, my friend.
Sorry, you don't think that precession and drift are the same? You're incorrect. You're wrong.
Well, then we're using words and we're assigning different definitions to them. There are 2 principles that a gyroscope displays. One principle of a gyroscope is that it attempts to maintain its orientation. So we use that in an attitude indicator and we use that in a heading indicator. If we spin a gyroscope horizontally so that it's level with the Earth's surface and then we maneuver an airplane around it, it demonstrates rigidity in space.
Okay.
So if the airplane banks, the gyroscope doesn't, and the pilot has a reference to the horizon. Okay?
I see. So as the plane moves over the surface of the Earth, we'll see this precession then in these instruments, correct?
That's rigidity in space. Let me finish.
So to ask a question following that statement.
No.
Sorry.
You're trying to lead me. You're trying to lead me.
Asking a question. Not trying to lead you. Asking a question about whether or not these instruments you just described that are fixed in space show this precession you're claiming or not.
There is a second thing that gyroscopes do. You're calling precession.
Sorry, do they precess as they're keeping the plane level in fixed space as a gyroscope or not?
They are constantly updated by a pendulum which senses gravity. So yes,
what?
They do show.
Sorry, do you want to cite that, please? Cite where the internal mechanisms of a plane are governed by a pendulum. I want to cite that, please.
The internal mechanism of an attitude indicator has, look it up if you want, look up pendulous vanes. The
Pendulous
internal
vanes.
mechanism of an
Sorry, you said by a pendulum.
Wow.
Sorry, you said by a pendulum.
Look it up, my friend.
Sorry, you said by a pendulum.
Look up
I know what pendulous vanes are. Stop telling me to look it up. I know what fucking pendulous vanes are. They're not pendulums. You said pendulum.
They sense.
So don't tell me what pendulous vanes do. I know. You said pendulum.
Okay, so tell me what pendulous.
Don't tell me what to tell you, right? You said pendulum, didn't you?
They're sensing vertical, like a plumb bob.
That's not true.
That's total nonsense.
A pendulous vane does not act like a plumb bob. A pendulous vane, the weighting on it is there to prevent topple of the gyroscope during kind of extreme maneuvers.
Yeah.
It's there to prevent the gyro from toppling. And the pendulous vane itself isn't attached to the gyro. The pendulous vane is attached to an air vent, which just regulates the airflow, which dampens down any excessive movement. You have a lot to learn, mate. And coming
When
out
you-
and telling
when
us
you-
to look up
when you're
pendulous
sitting
vanes
in a-
is just, frankly, embarrassing for you.
Sitting,
They correct
Yeah,
for
when you're-
centripetal sudden pressure. That's what they do.
when you're sitting in a and it hasn't been fired up yet, how does the
Why are you asking
attitude
us?
indicate?
Why are you asking us? Tell us
How does the
how. Tell
indicate-
us
If it
how
doesn't
this proves
spin up-
your point. Don't ask us.
All right. Then when you're sitting in an aircraft and the attitude indicator on an older aircraft, the electronic ones are different. Well, they're not really, but when you start the airplane up, the vacuum pump is forced to move by the airplane, engine running. That moves air through the gyroscope and it starts the gyroscope spinning. At the same time, the pendulous vanes are tipped in such a way that little jets of air blast out of the bottom of the gyroscope and erect it. They cause it to stand up vertically by sensing, like a plumb bob does, like any pendulum does, where down is, and they cover and uncover little jets of air that force the gyroscope to stand up and find horizontal. Throughout the flight thereafter, they continue to do that. So if you do a 180-degree turn in an
horseshit.
aircraft,
That's
Absolutely.
total nonsense. It doesn't matter what the orientation of the spinning gyroscope is. The only thing that matters is that it stays rigid in its orientation once it's spun up. It doesn't matter what the axis of spin is. This is total nonsense.
I'm afraid if you take an attitude indicator apart and look at it, it absolutely matters the orientation of the gyroscope. The gyroscope has to be vertical in order for the display to show vertical. There's a mechanical linkage between the two.
And
Bullshit.
so what?
I've got one sitting on my desk at
So
home,
what?
guys.
So what?
You didn't know what a pendulous vane was? You called it a pendulum?
You also have
It
a
works-
sextant.
It
It's not
works on
really
the
believable
principle
that
of a
you've got one.
pendulum. It's vertical.
Yeah, but you understand that your complete lack of comprehension means it's very unlikely anybody's going to believe you that you've now got one sitting on your bench. Yeah, smelling
This
a bit.
is not a
mate,
misinterpretation. He's a liar.
Yeah,
He's
well,
a liar.
It sounds
No,
like
making
he's
it up.
making stuff up, and he certainly doesn't sound like he's informed about how things work, why they work, as we discussed earlier, what their purpose is, or even how these things are constructed, considering he's got one on his bench.
Adam, he came on the show saying he also owned the sextant and it could only work with a straight line to the horizon.
Yeah, well, that's
However,
on a ball,
we
can you?
we're getting away from how a gyro compass works. We have been talking
That's
about
what I asked
instruments
you.
which use in
That's what I
space.
asked you.
We've been talking about instruments that use rigidity in space.
Mm-hmm.
Gyroscopes
gyroscope.
gyroscopes also exhibit a second feature, which is that if you take the axle of a rotating gyroscope and force the axle to move to a different place in space, the gyroscope will respond 90 degrees later. Take a bicycle wheel.
What is that? That's just describing gyroscopic function, how if you apply a force, how the force...
Yeah.
Well, you're just repeating a textbook, mate. You're not demonstrating anything. You're just reading a textbook.
What you described is the rigidity. That is what the rigidity does. Right? It doesn't matter if there is a delay or anything. That's totally irrelevant. The only relevant part of it is that it always does end up in its rigid orientation that it started with, no matter what the rest of the vehicle around it does.
Quick shout out.
That's why it's there.
Quick shout out. Bear with me. Sorry. Bear with me a second.
Fundamental
Sebastian, bear with me.
principles
Bear
of
with
a
me. Clearly saying bear with me doesn't mean anything to this guy. Shout out to Sebastian Tello, who says, "Good morning from Miami. Love your show. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate the support, Sebastian. Thank you very much indeed." Feel free, Mike. My bad.
Am I allowed to talk now?
Yeah, go ahead. My bad.
Okay. So there are two principles that a gyroscope displays. One of them is rigidity in space. We've been talking about that. The second one is that if you force a gyroscope to change its axis of rotation, it shows that 90 degrees out of plane. So if you take a bicycle wheel and you spin it rapidly and hold its axle and try to twist it left and right, like you're pointing it left and right, it will tip. The top of the wheel will tip left and right instead of the horizontal part, which is what you're trying to do. Or if you try and tip it left and right, it will now rotate horizontally. 90 degrees out, the axle will move. That's what I am calling precession. You guys may be using that word for something else, but that is the second principle that a gyroscope displays.
Yeah, we heard.
Rigidity.
We don't need you to repeat the same text over and over again. We don't need you to read the text out loud again. Okay,
Mike, is it? Mike. With that in mind, then, Mike.
Mike, somebody's trying to respond to you.
We put a gyroscope.
Mike, somebody's trying to respond. Mike, somebody's trying to respond to you. Go ahead, Adam.
So with that precession in mind and how you've described what it is, are you saying it's the rotation of the Earth that causes this precession in the gyroscope? It's the applied forces of the gyroscope's frame fixed to the rotating body of the Earth, and because the gyro's free to spin in its gimbals, this is the applied force, and this is why we see precession?
No, I'm not saying that in an attitude indicator or a heading indicator.
No, we were talking about.
So what causes it? Okay, sorry,
using
Adam. Sorry, what causes it then? So what causes it then?
I'm not talking about those instruments. I'm talking about
Sorry, you've babbled on about those fucking instruments for the last 10 minutes. What causes it? What's the point of you telling us this?
I want to talk about them. I don't want to talk about rigidity in space.
So why have you babbled on about a bicycle 30 seconds ago? You do? That's what you're babbling about.
I want to talk about precession.
Right, from the instruments that you're describing.
I want to talk about precession.
Yeah, we heard the first 5 times!
In a gyro-theodolite.
Yeah, so you do want to talk about these instruments then?
In a gyro...
So, yeah, we heard the first 6 times. We heard. Yeah, you do, and you don't want to talk about these instruments. You want to talk about precession in these instruments, but you don't want to talk about the instruments. Are you done double speaking?
So when we put a gyroscope...
So we heard the first 5 and 6 times.
Somebody kick this ass.
Yeah, asshole. We heard you.
In a gyro...
Sorry, asshole. You just seem to be chanting now. Just stop chanting. Stop chanting. Stop
and we're under
chanting. So, the asserted cause, please. What causes this claim that you describe?
That a gyrotheodolite will find north?
What, the thing that you've explained 6 times? With an upward inflection? No, about the unicorns!
Oh, well, of course, the unicorn horn is what finds north, absolutely.
Mate, you've just explained to us 6
so
times the same guys in Discord, guys in G+, guys in G+. Yeah, you've explained it 6 times to us. Yeah? Now you're saying with an upward inflection, what? My claim?
Explanation.
Yeah, you don't need to talk through me. Yeah, your claim. What's the claimed cause of this effect you described 6 times?
Something is causing the gyro...
No shit! What? You fucking retard!
Must be something's rotating. If the gyroscope's axis is not being forced off...
Sorry, do you think we need it a 7th fucking time? Are you going to tell us what the claimed cause of this is? Something must be rotating. All right. Are you ever going to make your claim? Are you just going to repeat the same periphery 7 times more? Or are you actually going to ever make a claim at the end of it?
I'm just saying it's an observed phenomenon.
You think that's an observed phenomenon, you dumb shit?
Yeah, what is the explanation
you
for the
dumb shit. You think that's an observed phenomena?
What, that I start a gyroscope spinning and I hold its orientation to the surface of the Earth solid, and then the gyroscope starts to precess?
A man-made device.
It's
Yeah.
also not true. Regular mechanical gyroscopes don't do that. Only ring laser gyroscopes do that. Sorry.
How does a gyrotheodolite work?
Why are you
then?
asking us?
How-
Why are you asking us? You yet to
how-
lay down what causes this in your claim, so we can rip it to shreds. So far, it's just a load of periphery that doesn't prove anything. You haven't actually laid down a claim. Something's spinning. Oh wow, what a wonderful proof of nothing. Because you're yet to make a claim.
So the Earth
He's
is
afraid to say
rotating.
the Earth is
Oh, so
spinning.
the Earth's rotating to cause this as a second reference frame. Oh, that would shorten flight times. If Earth was turning as a non-inertial spinning reference frame, then a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles would only take an hour and a half because Earth would be turning underneath it. That second reference
let's
frame,
go-
that second reference frame would cause Coriolis deflection. That was the very first rebuttal I gave you.
Let's go to the...
Maybe let's ignore the rebuttal.
I'm
Let's just ignore the rebuttal completely and move on.
not ignoring the rebuttal.
Well, maybe acknowledge it. If Earth was turning underneath the claim cause you've just laid out after 7 attempts to go through the periphery without making the claim, now you've actually made the claim. So it's Earth rotation that's causing this deflection in a gyro, according to you. Well, that would mean we've got 2 reference frames and flight times would be reduced. Third time I've put my rebuttal to you.
If you'll follow me through, I will
I
rebut.
did follow you through. I listened to you 7 times. I listened to you fail to make a claim, and when you did, I shot you in the face.
We put a drone on a roundabout. We lift the drone up off the roundabout. Now, the drone is hovering in space relative to the surface of the Earth, not relative to the roundabout.
So why have you introduced a third reference frame of the Earth when you were using a roundabout? So we've got 2 reference frames, right? A roundabout and a drone. If I'm watching the drone from a roundabout and I launch the drone, it will appear to take a curved path after it leaves the roundabout because I continue to turn underneath it. That's Coriolis effect.
The drone, when it leaves the surface of the rotating roundabout,
Will seem to drift because you turn beneath it. Yes, that's what I just said.
which is different
Unless
than
you're
when I
gonna
lift off in a drone and keep it stationary to the surface of the Earth.
Yeah, because it's not drifting. Yes, very different. One exhibits drift. That would be a roundabout. The other doesn't exhibit drift. That would be Earth. But Earth's claimed to have Coriolis drift at 15 degrees an hour. And as you rightly point out, that doesn't happen when you launch a drone off Earth, but does happen when you launch one off a roundabout. So no drift on Earth then, like you'd get on a roundabout. Very different things, right? No drift from Earth, no Coriolis from Earth, drift Coriolis from a turning roundabout.
If I lift off a drone...
So don't acknowledge what I've said, just make the claim again, maybe another 7 times. So if we launch a drone from a roundabout, it will drift. That's Coriolis. If we launch a drone from Earth, it doesn't drift. No Coriolis. So Earth does not exhibit Coriolis as it is claimed to do. Earth turn debunked. No drift to observe. Shout out to Retro Bill. He says, your dishonest guest claims to have never heard the show, yet continues to make constant show references demonstrating that he does in fact listen. Maybe.
May I finish? May I finish?
What you did, you claimed that we'll see drift if you launch a drone from a roundabout, but we don't exhibit that Earth on Earth. That's a very different effect, you said.
That's not what I claimed. Let me...
Yeah, I heard what you claimed. It was recorded and broadcast live. You claimed drone on roundabout. That will drift. Drone on Earth, very different effect, you said. Yeah, because there's no drift. You just didn't actually acknowledge my response.
When you lift the drone off the roundabout...
It will drift from the roundabout's perspective because you're turning beneath it. That doesn't happen on Earth.
Have I been able to finish a sentence?
Bro.
Maybe if you acknowledge one thing I say ever, I won't need to constantly parrot it through the top of you repeating the same thing over and over again. That's if you launch a drone off a roundabout, it'll drift. That's Coriolis effect, observed as you turn beneath. Earth's claim to have that effect, and we don't see it. That's the end of the
When
argument.
you lift a drone on a roundabout, it will not drift.
So you think drones track with roundabouts moving beneath them, do you?
When you lift the
Yo, fuckwit! You think you launch a drone off a roundabout and it carries on moving with the roundabout, do you?
Listen to me, please.
Suck my balls, fundy fuckwit! You've just stated that a roundabout and a drone, you launch the drone and it doesn't drift from the roundabout's position. No, it does, because it's not attached anymore. You're just thick, you don't understand Coriolis. If you think a drone won't drift when it launches from a roundabout, then you're an idiot and don't understand Coriolis.
Lift a drone
But then to
off a
prove you-
roundabout and observe it carefully with a slow motion camera, and here's what you will see.
From a roundabout, you'll see it deflect at whatever rate the roundabout turns, because it's going up and you're turning underneath. So it looks like it moves because you're turning beneath. That's what you'll film.
As the drone lifts off the roundabout, the moment before the skids leave the drone, it is moving at the same speed that the roundabout is moving.
Yeah, because it's fucking attached to it.
Correct.
Yeah, and then when it leaves, it drifts. Then when it leaves, it drifts.
The moment that the
what happens when
skids
it's-
leave the surface of the roundabout,
It appears to drift from the roundabout.
the drone will tip slightly to show that it is accelerating, to show that it is changing its rate of motion, and it will go into a hover.
Who cares? Coriolis is described from the vantage point of the person on the roundabout. Why are you describing what the drone does?
Because in order to hover stationary...
Sorry, did you not just listen to what I just said? Coriolis is described from the non-inertial turning reference frame, not from the drone.
I think he's talking about the damn gyroscope again.
In order
Drones seem to be addressing...
Drones that launch from roundabouts seem to drift. Do you disagree with that?
Watch a drone...
You seem to ask me a question when I ask you a question. Drones appear to drift from roundabouts after they launch. Agree or disagree?
I agree, but there's...
Excellent. Drones appear to drift when they leave a claim to be turning Earth. Agree or disagree?
You're skipping past a very...
I'm not. I'm asking for a comparison that's exactly the same according to the claim. According to the claim of Earth turn, there's going to be Coriolis effect. What's Coriolis effect? You watching a drone seem to drift from a roundabout. That's Coriolis. So we'll see a drone drifting from Earth when it leaves Earth then, won't we?
No, we won't.
So then there's no Coriolis deflection then. So
Welcome to
Earth turn
stationary Earth.
debunked. No Coriolis drift to observe then.
There's a difference.
No, there's not. One is claimed to have Coriolis effect. That's Earth, and it doesn't. You've just said we won't see this effect that Earth's claimed to have. That'll be Coriolis drift. You launch a drone off Earth, nothing happens. No Coriolis effect. Well, Earth's claimed to have Coriolis effect. You've proved it doesn't.
You are not letting me explain something that I need to explain. You're not letting me explain something.
Maybe if you say that I'm not letting you explain it 5 times in a row, rather than actually contradicting something that I've said, that's that if you take off from a roundabout, the drone will seem to drift as you turn beneath it, and that is the very claim that Earth has. Earth's claim to exhibit Coriolis deflection. That would be things leaving it and you watching them seem to drift. That doesn't happen, you've just made that clear.
When the drone lifts off the roundabout, the moment that the skids leave the roundabout, the drone will accelerate. The drone will tip on its side slightly, showing that it is changing its velocity. When you lift off the Earth...
Sorry, when you lift off the Earth, there's nothing to do with Coriolis effect, because it's you observing things as you turn beneath. 3rd time I've said it. Just keep ignoring it. That's not Coriolis effect.
You are ignoring what I'm trying to say.
You're describing the
You don't even know what you're
projectile.
saying.
Chocolate, can you stop rumpusing this conversation, please? Coriolis is observed from the non-inertial... Coriolis is observed from the non-inertial turning reference frame. That's how it's observed. You keep detailing what the drone does. Earth's claim to have Coriolis deflection, that will be described from the ground, not from the drone. Either you accept this, or we can't move on.
I'm saying that the takeoff sequence of the drone...
So ignore me and carry on detailing the drone. Yep, the drone has nothing to do with Coriolis effect, it's everything to do with you observing it from a turning reference frame. Third time.
When the drone lifts off the roundabout, it has a tangential velocity equal to the speed of the roundabout.
Absolutely nothing to do with Coriolis effect. Fourth time I've told you.
I'm not talking about Coriolis effect.
Globe claims to have it.
You are not.
No. Why are you telling me that I'm claiming this? I'm not a globe-believing
Wow.
fuckwit. Who is doing that from G+? Every single sentence so far has been interrupted by G+. Sick of it. No. The globe claims to have a Coriolis deflection. That's 2 reference frames, precisely as your claim hinges around. So, if we're talking Coriolis effect, which is 2 reference frames, and drift, then you're going to be describing that from the turning reference frame, not from the drone. Was that 4th time?
If I mount a camera on a pole and I mount a camera on a drone...
Then you're not describing Coriolis effect. 5th time. 5th time.
And
5th time is just dumb. It's decided that no matter what happens, he is going to describe this from the drone. That's not deflection. That's not Coriolis effect.
And I cause the drone to remain stationary. Does a drone... How does a drone, when you...
Why are you asking me
fly
something?
it,
Your claim. Your claim. Don't ask me. Your claim.
A drone, when it launches, uses GPS signals to keep itself in the same place relative to the surface of the Earth. If there's
Oh, I see. So, because of its GPS, it can keep up with 1,000 miles an hour on the equator?
Can I fly a drone in a...
Sorry, you didn't just ignore my question. So according to you, the GPS system keeps it in line with the Earth's rotation. Therefore, it can fly 1,000 miles an hour to keep up with Earth rotation on the equator. A drone can move 1,000 miles an hour to keep up, can it?
I can fly a drone in a 747 and it goes 500 miles an hour.
Right, so now we've got the drone in a 747. Sorry, all we were doing was launching a drone off the ground. You said it'll track with Earth rotation. That means it must track at the equator 1,000 miles an hour. Can drones fly 1,000 miles an hour?
They can if they're being carried by something.
Oh, right. So now this example of you launching a drone off a roundabout's actually a 747 fucking taking off a roundabout, is it? You fucking clown. Just because you're being pummeled doesn't mean you need to introduce a 747. Yeah, so Earth claims we'll see deflection from the ground as a drone takes off. This clown is saying, no, the claim that Earth has of Coriolis won't happen because the drone will keep up with Earth rotation. So that would imply that Earth rotation, 1,000 miles an hour on the equator, is capable of being kept up with by a drone. Cat, got your tongue?
And all the gases.
Do you know what the first law of thermodynamics is?
I do.
Your description of a drone taking off and increasing its velocity is a first law of thermodynamics violation.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not increasing its velocity.
What velocity? The velocity you assume Earth has when it's rotating and you're begging the question fallacy. That velocity. Hello?
What if you...
Sorry, maybe it's time for a question for me. Every time I've asked you a question so far, you've just parroted off a question for me.
That is what I'm saying, yes.
Oh, well, you've done really well. Give that man 3 Bitcoin.
What I'm saying, when a drone lifts off from a roundabout...
Yeah, we heard the first 6 times. Yeah, when it lifts off a roundabout, from your vantage point, sitting on the roundabout, you'll see it appear to drift. That's Coriolis deflection. You, on a non-inertial turning reference frame, watching something leave the non-inertial turning reference frame and enter the inertial reference frame, and appear to drift from your perspective. That's Coriolis deflection. Now, if Earth has that exact same effect as it's claimed to do, then a drone launches and will appear to drift as you turn beneath it on a turning Earth. That's simple. It doesn't happen.
If you launched a drone from a roundabout and the compensation mechanism didn't cause it to hover,
Sorry, compensation mechanism that's going to keep up with 1,000 miles an hour on the equator. You're yet to address that.
Continue to.
So are you going to address the fact that the compensation would have to be 1,000 miles an hour on the equator? You're going to address that? Hello, you fucking idiot. You're saying it's compensating for 1,000 miles an hour at the equator? That's complete nonsense. Drones can't keep up with 1,000 miles an hour of Earth rotation. Further to that, it's a first law of thermodynamics violation. It would increase its radial value as it went up in altitude on a sphere Earth, meaning it'd have to increase its energy with respect to the ground below it. That's a first law of thermodynamics violation.
When you walk from the front of...
Maybe just ignore every single word I've just said and start making a new example. I would. First law of thermodynamics violation. If you are on a sphere and you launch a drone, and as you have described, it keeps up with the rotation, it has an increased circumferential distance to travel as it goes up in elevation. So it would have to increase its velocity with respect to the ground to track with it. First law of thermodynamics violation. Third time.
Would that...
Maybe just stutter through me.
Would that have something to do...
Why are you asking me? I'm just telling you fact. You've just described a first law of thermodynamics violation on your globe. Fact.
Perhaps we could say that that energy comes from the batteries running down.
Sorry, the energy that gives it 1,000 miles an hour capability at the equator and can violate the first law of thermodynamics by increasing beyond the speed of the 1,000 miles an hour at the equator beneath it as it goes up in elevation. No, that's a first law of thermodynamics violation. Fourth time I've told you.
It's already doing 1,000 miles an hour because...
So no drift then? So we're not going to experience any Coriolis drift? So the ball that left Neil deGrasse Tyson's example was already doing 1,000 miles an hour if it was on the equator? So why is Neil deGrasse Tyson saying that Earth's rotating under footballs if they're already doing 1,000 miles an hour when they leave the ground? That makes Neil deGrasse Tyson's example wrong. He's saying they drift. Balls drift, Earth turn beneath them. You're saying it retains it. You're just an idiot because that wouldn't give you Coriolis effect. So no Coriolis effect then.
The ball is changing location. The drone is not.
What's that got to do with you observing it drift? You keep detailing what the drone does when I've explained to you 6 times that Coriolis is observed from the ground as you turn beneath. It's you looking at something seem to drift from a roundabout.
I thought the drone was in the 747. That changed location.
This is all getting really
But
nonsensical.
relative to 747...
Yeah, laugh it up. Hot air balloons don't deviate, and they don't have any mechanism to correct for the supposed deviation, right? So the hot air balloons out there, they're not drifting super fast as they would. So no Coriolis deviation. This talk about corrections on drones, it's so nonsensical. There's things out there floating in the air that don't correct. They just float. Okay?
Correct
How's
for
that
what?
to do with it?
So,
It's an
so
observation.
the correction he's describing is a correction that will give him no effect. So the net difference between something going up, violating the first law of thermodynamics and retaining its angular momentum, according to this guy, in a linear fashion, nonsensical also, that would yield 0 effect then. You wouldn't see anything happening. So there's no proof we spin then. There's nothing to observe. There's nothing happening. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference if it wasn't turning at all, according to you. So there's no proof we spin. No Coriolis effect then, according to this guy.
I'm not saying that a drone hovering over the surface of the Earth proves a flat Earth or a round Earth.
No, it disproves that we've got Coriolis deflection at 15 degrees an hour, though. Earth claims to have Coriolis deflection, and a fact that it can hover means we haven't. That would debunk the claim that we spin. Because we'd see drift if there was a spin. That's the claim.
No, that's not how that works.
Oh, really? Neil deGrasse Tyson seems to think so. He described Earth turning underneath a football. Do you want to take it up with Tyson? Because he says otherwise. You're saying that's not how it works? So when Neil deGrasse Tyson described Earth turning under a football, that's not how it works? Take it up with Neil deGrasse Tyson then. So take it up with Neil deGrasse Tyson, who says that's exactly how it works.
In all cases, when we're talking about Coriolis effect, we talk about an object moving from one place to another on...
No, we observe it from a non-inertial turning reference frame seeming to do something it isn't.
Are you unaware of the globe's claim of Coriolis?
It's an optical
Are you
illusion.
not aware of it?
It's an optical illusion. It's nothing to do with the trajectory and everything to do with the not actual trajectory. an illusion of a trajectory that doesn't actually occur. And it occurs because you're turning beneath stuff if you're observing Coriolis effect. That'd be you turning beneath things not attached to a roundabout and seeing them seem to curve. That would also be effect that we'd see on Earth if Earth was turning. And I would suggest that me pointing out it doesn't have on Earth would obviously require you talking straight through the middle of me. We don't see that effect on Earth. That would be us observing drift from the ground as things seem to drift as we turn beneath them. That doesn't happen.
The drone is attached to the Earth by the column of air that it's supporting itself on.
Right, air is inhomogeneous. You think air forms columns? It's inhomogeneous.
Column air, huh?
Columns? You fuckwit. Inhomogeneous. Do you know what that means?
I do.
So, column? No, gas is unbonded. It's not forming columns. Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Do you hear
pillars
me?
of gas.
I'm a flat earther calling you a fucking idiot for saying columns of air. Columns? No, anisotropic, inhomogeneous mixtures of gases aren't in columns pressing down on stuff. They're unattached to each other. Do you hear me, shit brains? Sorry, did you hear me? Did you hear me, column boy? Did you hear me, retard, who thinks air forms columns to press down?
The drone, however, is using the air to support itself.
Oh, that's
Yes or
nice. So it's supposed to be drifting on a turning Earth, though. Why isn't it?
For the same reason that if you are flying in an aircraft or a train or a van or any other object that's moving, and you lift a drone off. I'm sitting in a van right now. If I lift a drone off in my van, whether it's stationary or moving, I will get exactly the same effect.
I see, because it's
If I'm
sealed.
driving-
I see, because it's a sealed van, right? The air's all moving with the van, right?
Correct.
So Earth's a sealed container, then.
In a manner of speaking, yes.
Manner of speaking? Is it a yes, it's a sealed container to be analogous to your van? Or is it no? A completely
It's
open,
yes.
an open system next to a vacuum. Definitely not analogous to a van with a roof and sides and doors. So you think that your Earth is inside a van to keep all the gas in one space? Maybe just interrupt the end of the question because it's devastating. You've just described Earth as being like it's contained within a van. So Earth's contained inside a container like a van then, right? Or is your analogy just fucking stupid? Maybe you can stutter like a bitch for a few seconds. Earth like van, right?
Yes,
No, your Earth's definitely not contained.
it is.
Really? What's the container?
Gravity.
Gravity's not a force. Let
Something
alone a
causes
container.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, which one? Which gravity?
something-
Which gravity? Which gravity do you think is a container?
Something causes something.
Sorry, which gravity? Are you deaf? Or are you just struggling to actually comprehend a question that comes your way without thinking of a question for me when you get one? Which gravity? Do you know? There's two. Which one?
Which gravity?
Maybe if you ask me with an upward inflection, that'll buy you a few more seconds. Yeah, it's only the third time. Which gravity?
The gravity
Einstein?
that causes an object with mass to move towards the surface of the Earth.
Oh, really? So helium has mass. Does that move to the centre of Earth?
Helium is less dense than the other.
So density then. So this would be density then, not gravity then, density. Density then. Density, not gravity then. More dense, less dense, that's density, not gravity.
Yeah.
So
Just
you
blame
said
yourself.
mass. Who the fuck keeps doing that from G+?
Yeah,
You
that's
said-
me, my bad.
You said gravity. Then you went on to describe how it's less dense. That'd be
Correct.
density. So not gravity then, density.
Density actually, buoyancy actually.
Buoyancy, that would be gas going down, go boom boom to displace other gases up. So we're back to a homogeneous layer of gas pressing down. Didn't we cover this with your column? You think gas go down pressing down? No, that's not how gas behaves. You're an idiot. You think gas forms a
Why does-
homogeneous... I'm asking you a question. Maybe you could tolerate it. You've just made a claim about gas pressing down with buoyancy. That would be gas forming a triggering for you, troubling your claim of a homogeneous layer to press things down with buoyancy. That would be a homogeneous layer of gas. Gas doesn't form homogeneous layers, you complete clown. Didn't you know that? It's anisotropic. Hello? Not pressing down with buoyancy. That's begging the question of gravity and assuming gas go down. Go boom boom, like bouncy balls poured into a fish tank. Gas doesn't do that. It expands in all directions.
When I take gravity away, buoyancy stops working.
Sorry, when you take gravity away, what are you talking about? Gravity, mass attracting mass, would be mass of helium moving to the mass of Earth. It doesn't do that. Then you've said buoyancy. Well, that's an assumption that all the gases around the helium are going down towards the centre of Earth. Third time, gases do not do that. You know how gas behaves? It doesn't go down to press stuff up. Gas expands in all directions, all vectors equally. It's not going down as a homogeneous layer to form...
Do gases have different densities?
So we're talking about density then, not gravity, density.
Why does the pressure...
Sorry, maybe just ignore the question about how you're about to launch into a question of me about how relative density will cause these differences. Maybe continue with your absolute annihilation of your own claim that gravity does this, when your claim of gravity is mass attracting mass. Now, Earth has mass, and so does helium. So mass of helium moves to mass of Earth. That's gravity. That happens, right? No, but you assumed that all the rest of the gases go down.
Yeah,
maybe just interrupt me. Gases don't go down. You're an idiot. Hello, idiot. Gases don't go down. They expand in all directions. Is this not sinking in?
Why
are you going to ask me a question? When I point out that gases expand in all directions and you've described buoyancy, gas go down, go boom boom. Wrong.
Gases do expand in all directions.
So not down, go boom boom buoyancy then.
At the surface of...
So not go down, go boom boom like bouncy balls then to push the helium up then.
The pressure of...
I think the word you're looking for is no. No. Gases definitely don't go down, go boom boom. To force helium up?
Dense gases...
Oh, so we're talking about density, not gravity then.
You're trying again to force me to say something I don't want to say.
What, like density that you've said 3 times from your lips? No, I didn't force you to say that word. You just said it of your own volition. No force needed. Gravity isn't a force. Hello?
At the surface of the Earth, air pressure is greater than it is at higher altitude.
How'd you get that
work?
pressure? That's interesting. How'd you get pressure in the first place? Define gas pressure. Do you want to define gas pressure for us? It's another... Maybe I forced you to say pressure. Maybe that was my forcing you to say that word that you're now going to justify. Maybe just talk through me. Just talk straight through the middle of me, I would. So how do we acquire gas pressure? Exactly, pray tell, on a sphere Earth? How does that happen? Take me through it.
If I lie down on the ground and somebody lies on top of me and somebody lies on top of me...
And they're gas, are they? They're gas. Their gas is lying on top of you because we're talking about gas. You realise that some fat man sat on you isn't gas? Do you understand that we're talking about gas?
We're talking about objects which have mass.
Gas would be one of them, and we're specifically talking about gas. How do you get the pressure? How do you get the pressure for the gas that you described? You said it's pressing. I'm at ground level, it's pressing on me. Yeah, I heard. Where'd you get that gas pressure?
Each molecule of the gas has a mass, which is attracted to the surface of the Earth.
No, it's not. Gas isn't attracted to the surface of Earth. Helium isn't going down, go boom, boom. Neither is any other gas. It all expands in all directions. Why do you keep saying that gas is attracted to the centre of Earth? That is not what gas does. It expands in all directions. You've already conceded this, you circle-jerking fundy idiot.
Helium is attracted, as is hydrogen.
Oh, really? Helium puddles going down, go boom, boom?
A boat is subtracted.
Sorry, helium puddles then? Puddles of helium, right? Down, go boom, boom, towards the centre of Earth. Do you say no?
A boat is
no.
attracted.
Sorry, it's just a yes or no. You've said helium does go down.
A boat is attracted.
Sorry, now we're talking about boats. Helium goes down then? Helium puddles then?
Until it
Like bouncy
encounters.
balls?
Like bouncy balls, right?
Some-
Helium goes down,
with
right? You just said
dense-
helium went down.
Until something is denser and then it supports it.
Oh, so it's down to the support of the surrounding medium then? Kind of like relative density.
Correct.
So that's not gravity, that's relative density then. You've just annihilated your own claim of gravity. So relative density explains this then.
Absolutely not.
So you just said it's relative density? Yes, it is. So relative density explains this then? Absolutely not. Yeah, you've just explained how it's relative density to us. The medium around it being more dense than the medium in it, that would make it go up. The medium being less dense than the object, it would go down. That's relative density. Absolutely sod all to do with gravity and everything to do with the medium that you're in.
Absolutely not.
Well, so if I push a ball underwater, it's got mass, it'll go down then, right? Towards the centre of the Earth because it's got mass. Oh no, it'll go up because it's in water, it's medium specific, isn't it?
Only when there's gravity.
Sorry, only when there's gravity. So you're just going to beg the question of this non-force. Sorry, why on earth would you beg the question of this gravity when, number one, mass does not attract mass? That is 106 years out of date. And the current rhetoric of gravity, Einsteinian bending pseudo-force space, isn't a force.
If I put an aircraft in a ballistic trajectory.
Who gives a shit? We're talking about gas. I'm still yet to get an answer where you get the pressure. You said gas will press on me. I'm on the ground. Gas pressure. Where'd you get the gas pressure from?
Gravity.
No, gravity's not a force. Gravity is things going down. Gas does not do that. It's about the 8th time I've told you.
Gas does do that.
Oh, gas go down, go boom, boom. Like bouncy balls. So which gas is produced in the sky?
Which gas is produced in the sky?
Yeah, to go down.
I have no idea how.
None of them, you fucking clown.
Say that again, I didn't hear you.
None of them are produced in the sky and coming down like fucking rain. Gas isn't produced in the sky. It's produced at ground level and makes its way up. Up, not down. It's coming out of the fucking ground and going up. It's not coming down like rain. It's not produced in the fucking clouds. Gas is going up from ground level, not down. Understand that it's coming out of the ground and going in all directions away from the ground where it was produced.
Agree.
Right, so it isn't going down then, you fucking idiot. We haven't got pools of helium, you fucking idiot.
We have pools of helium at the...
No, we fucking don't.
Yes, we do.
Oh, really? Where do we find these pools, puddles of helium? Show me a picture of one.
Spread evenly over the... Well, it's invisible, so it's a bit hard to take...
Sorry, invisible pools of helium?
Our gases are in...
Sorry, you stuttering little fuck. We haven't got puddles of helium, you stupid idiot.
The entire upper...
Yo, stuttering fuckwit. We haven't got puddles of helium.
The entire upper surface of the atmosphere is a giant pool of helium.
And what's it pressing on? Gas has pressure, right? That would be the force exerted on the walls of its containment. What's the gas at the top? What's it pressing on?
It's pressing on the gas underneath it.
Sorry, it's pressing... When it's moving upwards, away from Earth, what does it press on at the top when moving upwards?
Gravity.
Sorry, gravity isn't a container. It's the motion down. Gas going down is gravity. So I'm saying, given that gas does not do that, It expands in all directions and is going up. You can't ascribe a downward vector at 9.8 meters per second to gas when it's travelling upwards. Yeah, there is no 9.8 meters per second square down when you're going up. So, given that it's not gravity because it's not moving down at 9.8 meters per second, it's expanding upwards, what does it press on at the top?
The gases underneath it, just
So it's
like...
not pressing on the stuff underneath, it's moving away from them, going upwards.
So how does...
So maybe ask me a question rather than answering what the hell is the gas pressing on at the top?
Exactly the same thing that a boat is pressing on when
So boats press on water, that's not gas.
It's the same principle.
Oh, is it? So water that's bonded is the same as unbonded gas now, is it? Water and gas are the same. You are so stupid that you don't understand something that my 5-year-old understands. Gases and liquids are very different. You stupid idiot.
The principle of...
No, the principle of a boat sat on top of liquid is not the same as an anisotropic, inhomogeneous, unbonded gas. They're very different. Different phases.
But it's the same...
No, it's not the same. It's a different phase.
The principle of buoyancy...
No, it's not the same principle because they're different phases.
A hot air or a helium balloon work on exactly the same principle as a boat.
No, they fucking don't. A boat's made of metal or wood and is solid.
Doesn't have to be. It could be made of...
Who gives a shit? We're talking about gases. Gases don't go down. I asked you which gas was produced in the sky to go down. None of them. So no gases are falling from the sky 9.8 meters per second. None of them.
Correct.
So when you say gravity, that would be going down 9.8 meters per second. Yeah, they're not doing that. And I'm saying you've claimed we've got pressure. Well, that would mean it's pressing on something. I'm saying, what does it press on the top? And you say the stuff underneath. No. It's moving away from the stuff underneath it, upwards. What does it press on at the top? You know, where the sky vacuum is. The vast area of space the gas could fill if we had a vacuum. We don't, by the way. The gas would have filled it.
It continues to move upwards.
Oh, well, then we'd all be dead. We'd all be dead. If all the gas continued to move into the sky vacuum, we'd have no gas left.
Did I finish my sentence?
Is it gonna
Well, you
press
said it
again?
all continues to move up as Arwen decides that he's going to destroy this conversation allwards, making it horrendous to edit. So, moving upwards, yeah, I got that bit. But it's got nothing to press on, there's just a vacuum, and you said it just continues. Well, then all the gas would continue in that direction, and we wouldn't have anything to breathe. We'd all be dead.
Continues to move upwards until it encounters a portion of the atmosphere.
Atmosphere? Why are you begging the question? So we're assuming the air's in a sphere shape?
Which has a
Excuse me, did you not hear my objection to you begging the question yet again? Sphere-shaped air? Why the fuck would you say that air takes the shape of a sphere? So far you've got it in layers, you've got it in columns, and now you've got it in a sphere. Why the hell would you assume that air takes a sphere shape? That's not what gas does. Don't beg the question. Stop it. Do you find that funny? You've just assumed that air takes the shape of a sphere, the thing you're trying to prove?
It does if something is attracted.
Sorry, air doesn't take the shape of a sphere, it takes the shape of its container. You don't understand how gas works.
If the air is contained by...
Is it contained then? So Earth's contained now, right?
Gravity...
Sorry, gravity's not a container. It's down 9.8 meters per second. Gas isn't doing that. Maybe circle jerk this 6 more times.
Gas is attempting to do that, but it's being supported by the gas underneath it.
Supported? It doesn't need support. It's unbonded. You think gas needs support? It's not bonded. It's completely free to move in any direction, unsupported. So when it goes up, what does it press on?
But it has mass.
Yeah, so it should be with gravity moving to the centre of Earth. But it isn't. It's moving in all directions away from Earth. That's entropy. Dispersion.
The only thing that can change its direction is a collision.
Yeah, so what's it colliding with at the top? Where there's a vast claim to be empty space sky vacuum, where entropic law would dictate that it would fill that space. What does it press on there?
It's being pulled towards.
No, it isn't. It's moving up. You think something going up's being pulled down? No. Idiot who doesn't understand gas behaviour. Gas expands in all directions. How many times have I got to go through this with you? That is not how gas behaves. Gas isn't being pulled down. Are you done? Are you done? Are you done? You keep asserting the same shit argument that gas is actually going down. That is not what gas does. You are stupid.
If I fire a bullet upwards,
that's gas, is it?
To the center
and that's
of the
gas,
Earth,
and that's gas.
It is an object made of molecules that...
That's fascinating. Gas is unbonded and bullets aren't. They're bonded together. They're more dense than the air itself. So we're talking about the air itself that the bullet you're going to now use by false equivalence is travelling through. So that air that it's travelling through isn't going down with gravity.
So
hello?
Why is there more...
Why are you asking me something? Why are you asking me something? Why are you asking me something? You haven't answered what the gas press is on at the top.
It doesn't have to press on it.
Yeah, it fucking does to have gas pressure. That's what gas pressure is. You don't understand what gas pressure is. That would be the force a gas exerts on the walls of its container. That's what gas pressure is. You're telling me it doesn't need to press to have pressure? Yeah, it does, retard.
What is the...
Don't ask me something. What does it press on at the top? Answer, it doesn't need to. Yeah, it does to have pressure.
There is no pressure at the top of the atmosphere.
Yeah, that would be the case if we had a sky vacuum. We'd have no pressure to breathe anymore because it would have all escaped into the sky vacuum. So you saying there is no pressure would be the consequence of us having a sky vacuum. The reality is we definitely do have pressure here.
Absolutely not true.
Oh, we don't have pressure. I'm not breathing. Oh my God, I'm dying! No, I'm definitely breathing gas pressure, you clown.
If there was no pressure, you wouldn't be able to say it wasn't.
So where do you get that gas pressure? Given that you have a belief in an area above your head that's just a vast empty space. So I'm saying the gas comes out of the ground, it flies off in all directions, and when it gets to the top of your sphere-shaped air assumption, what does it press on? Not gravity, because that's going down 9.8 meters per second. We covered that about 7 times.
Or even think back to the early days of the Earth before the atmosphere was formed. The first gas particles with 10 to the minus 17 torr would have been at the surface of the Earth at one point, right? So any gas particles produced at that point onwards would just fly off out into space and never come back. So how would you ever form an atmosphere?
Any gas particle that doesn't have enough speed to escape the pull of Earth's gravity will...
Sorry, gravity is the gas going down.
And if you have one molecule of air, right, that molecule will sit at the Earth's surface. You have a second molecule...
No, it fucking won't. It'll move at hundreds of miles per hour. It won't sit anywhere. You fucking idiot. You don't know how gas behaves. You think gas is sitting around? You fucking retard. You fucking retard. You think gas sits on the surface of Earth when it's got a very, very high velocity?
As you continue to...
You should just keep ignoring me. You just said gas sits on Earth. No, it doesn't. You're an idiot. Wrong.
You've never done physics class, obviously.
Wrong. That is not how gas behaves. You're a thick idiot. Gas doesn't sit on Earth. Do you need me to educate you on gas behaviour? It moves at high velocity in all directions, all vectors, high speeds. Doesn't sit anywhere, stupid idiot.
So if methane escapes out of a pipe and pools in a depression and you throw a match in it, it doesn't blow up?
But what the hell does that have to do with gas expansion, entropy, and gas not pressing on anything in your heliocentric worldview that doesn't have containment? Hello? Gas isn't going down. You're yet to tell us what it's pressing on at the top. I'll tell you the answer. It isn't. Yeah? Without the container, there can be no pressure.
Why? Okay, so pressure decreases as we go up in altitude. If the Earth is a...
Where'd you get the pressure from in the first place? You're still yet to answer. You're describing pressure decreasing. Where'd you get the pressure in the first place? If the sky's a vacuum, you wouldn't. Where'd you get the pressure from?
You.
Neil, Jesus fucking wept.
So
Where'd you get the pressure from in the first place?
Because mass is attracted towards the center of the Earth. And
Gas isn't going down, go boom boom towards the center of Earth. That is not what gas does. It expands in all directions. It is not going down, go boom boom. We've covered this. No gas is produced in the sky. No gas falls down. That is not what gas does. Laugh it up, bitch. Do you think you deserve the 3 bitcoins for this shit? Gas isn't going down, idiot.
Right, let's
Right, let's stutter like a bitch after you've had your ass handed to you and constantly said that gas is going to go to the mass of Earth. No. That's definitely not what gas does. You are stupid.
Very good.
Yeah, no, not very good. Just really frustrating for me because you're thick as shit. And no matter how many times I tell you that gas isn't going down 9.8 meters per second when it moves up, and I ask you, where'd you get the gas pressure from in the first place? You started describing how gas gets thinner as you go up. Yeah, where did you get that gas pressure from? If the sky's a vacuum. About the 10th time I've asked.
Well, I've told you, but you won't accept it.
What, gravity? That would be gas going down, go boom boom, 9.8 meters per second. It doesn't do that. Why would I accept it when it doesn't do that?
Because it's displaced by the other...
Because it does really. It doesn't do that. Gas expands in all directions, not down 9.8 meters per second. I'm not accepting it because it doesn't do that.
Okay.
Okay! So that's the end of your fucking argument then? Not gas go down, go boom boom. Not gas go down to force helium up. Not gas reaches this certain arbitrary level called the Kármán line and decides to fall down, go boom boom. None of those things are described with gas behaviour. You are thick.
Very good. Let's look.
Not very good, you being thick. You think very good is you being thick as shit? I don't think that's very good. I find it irritating that globe-believing dicks like you think they've got the nerve to come here because they, in their mind, have kidded themselves that they can win Bitcoin with their crap arguments and their assertion that gas forms columns and layers and spheres when it's unbonded.
This is not a science fiction contest.
Let's jump into the flat Earth paradigm then.
Why?
Shut up.
Why? We've already proved it to you with a sextant. Done.
We're on a flat Earth.
Yeah, we are. We've proved it to you with a sextant already when you first got here.
You know, there's the firmament over us, which is forming a sealed container and keeping the air from blowing off into space. Got it.
Yeah, that's by your example with gas that expands up to the top level and apparently loses all kinetic energy and falls back down, go boom boom. That is definitely not what gas does. It needs to be contained. Your use of this word firmament that I have not used, I don't know why you're throwing up some straw men, but you seem to have decided that you're going to throw in these words I haven't used. Straw men fallacies.
Okay, I've watched a bunch of videos and I've...
Sorry, you going to stereotype fallacy me now?
No.
Well, why are you telling me about a bunch of fucking videos that I haven't said the word firmament in?
Hello,
I haven't said the word firmament. This is a straw man.
Okay, then we can put that aside. I've got no problem.
Well, why did you bring it up? You just used yet another fallacy, you dick.
So I'm trying to...
Trying to use a stereotyping fallacy based on other people's videos you've watched? Yeah, that's another fallacy. Straw man, stereotyping fallacy. Yeah, I know.
Very good. Then what...
Not very good. You using fallacious logic again. Poor by you. Poor show by you. Not very good. Very poor to use fallacy. You using yet another fallacy.
Very poor. Totally accept it.
Yeah. So fuck off. Why are you still here? All you've done is failed miserably.
Because this is very interesting.
So go fuck yourself. We don't want to hear your stupid voice anymore. You are clearly retarded. So go away. You got no reason being here. You don't know anything about the arguments. You think gas takes sphere shapes when it's unbonded. You think gas forms columns when it's unbonded. You think gas reaches a certain height and goes down, go boom, boom, because it runs out of energy. You think that gas can form pressure without pressing anything. You are fundamentally idiotic. You don't deserve to be here.
What's your explanation for the
I
change?
don't want to give you anything.
What's your explanation for
No,
pressure?
did you not hear me? You're not going to demand anything from me at all.
So you're not going to...
So I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself, and you can either stay here and demand that I answer your questions, or you can go fuck yourself. That's your choices. Laugh it up, you stupid clown. You've done very badly. By your own admission. Quote, very poor. Yeah. So why the hell do you think we'd waste our time with somebody who's very poor at arguing for the globe?
Fucking myself is quite pleasant, so I may well go and do that, but...
Yet you do that shit for brains, because you did it here admirably. Yet laugh it up. You did appallingly. You had your ass ripped out of your mouth by a flat earther repeatedly for several hours live.
I'm not...
Stuttering like a bitch. Yeah, you are.
Not competition for me.
Sorry, competition that comes with a prize of Bitcoin?
Hey, if I get the Bitcoin...
So it is a competition to you then, you lying piece of shit? Competition that you'll win Bitcoin in. It's not a competition to you, even though that is precisely what it is to you. You liar.
I showed up...
So, liar, you're just lying.
Might
then.
want to define competition.
You're just a liar.
A 0 point...
Liar. It is a competition, one you thought you'd win 3 Bitcoins in. You are now lying about what you consider this to be. You do consider it to be a competition. That is the only reason you are here.
Which I'm losing. That's actually no.
Yeah, we know you're losing. That's why you're chuckling. You're losing badly. Your little game, your little competition that you honestly thought you'd win when you got here.
You're now putting words in my mouth.
No, I'm not. I'm teabagging your dumb fuck ass for your stupidity, for your assertions that gas go down, go boom boom, for your lack of claim when it came to 2 reference frames, for your completely demolishing the fact that Earth claims to have 2 reference frames and drift at 15 degrees an hour. You say we'll have a first law of thermodynamics violation as drones take off and keep up with 1,000 miles an hour spin, demonstrating no effectacy. Those are the things you've said here.
Don't forget column air.
Is that it? Is your chuckle the only response?
You just asserted that I came here...
I just asserted. You're just stuttering like a bitch.
That I came here...
Get a grip and go away. No one wants to hear you stuttering and stammering anymore. Get lost. Go away. Go and learn your own claim.
You're only gaslighting yourself.
You're welcome to cut me off at any time, but I'm enjoying this.
What, being humiliated?
Ooh,
You're a masochist. Masochist. Yeah, we have those plenty of masochists.
Why are you enjoying something that trying to defend something that you are not capable of defending? You're enjoying that? Are you serious?
Your definition is not. I am attempting to have a reasonable discussion with you guys.
And you're using fallacy every second word. So you're attempting to have a reasonable discussion, but instead you're riddled with stereotyping fallacies, straw men fallacies, begging the question fallacies, affirming the consequent formal logical fallacies. You've got nothing but fallacies, and you think you're going to have a reasonable conversation with us.
Why is there a
Sorry, why is it that when I point out that you're suggesting that you're having a reasonable conversation, and I'm constantly pointing out your fallacies, fallacious reasoning and logic isn't a reasonable conversation, it's a fallacious conversation caused by you.
Why is there a pressure lapse rate in the ocean and in the atmosphere?
Sorry, did I make a claim about that?
It's an observable...
Did I make a claim about that, is my question. Maybe ignore it. Maybe ignore it 6 times. Did I make a claim?
You did not.
So this would be another straw man fallacy that you're about to burn then?
It's an observable...
It's a straw man fallacy because I haven't made a claim about it.
I have no observable it's something I...
Sorry, you stuttering bitch. You've just used another fallacy.
I have no...
Stuttering bitch! You've just used yet another straw man fallacy. I keep saying it, you just don't acknowledge your own fallacious logic. Is this reasonable? You use a fallacy, I point out the fallacy you use, and you chant through me over and over again. Is that a reasonable conversation? Doesn't seem very reasonable. You not acknowledging your own fallacious logic that you've just used again. That'd be a straw man. You've admitted I haven't made a claim about it, but what, you want to carry on? Maybe it's unreasonable that I stop you using this fallacy. Maybe it's a reasonable conversation if you continue burning this straw man. You tell me what's reasonable.
How is an observable fact that there is a pressure lapse rate in the atmosphere?
Where'd you get the pressure from in the first place? I keep asking you. You're asking us about delta X. I asked you where you got the pressure from in the first place to have a delta of that pressure. That would be a gradient. You haven't answered.
I don't need to show you where it comes from.
Oh, I see. So we can just assume pre-existing pressure and then talk about delta of pressure, can we? No, we're going to need to know where we got the pressure from if you've got a sky vacuum.
I go out in the atmosphere and I...
Oh, I see. And you assume the sky is a vacuum and it's just working anyway. That's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics.
I'm not observing. I'm not...
Sorry, you go outside and just observe gas pressure and then carry on with your assumption that the sky is a vacuum. That's the second law of thermodynamics violation, second time I've said it. Maybe you can acknowledge what I've said? Obviously, this is a reasonable conversation.
So therefore, my explanation must not be correct and there must be some other explanation.
Yeah, we know your explanation isn't correct. Your explanation is there's a sky vacuum and gas go down, go boom, boom. That is incorrect.
So how do we explain the...
Sorry, I don't have to explain anything. I've just ripped apart your fundamentalist religious belief in a sky vacuum. You think I now owe you an explanation because I've destroyed your religious faith in a sky vacuum? No, I don't owe you anything. What I can do is rip apart your sky vacuum belief, and I've done that for a live audience. Sky's not a vacuum. Entropy. Yeah? Gas would fill the space.
No, you actually haven't. You've just yelled at me a bunch.
Sorry, where is the gas acquiring its pressure from?
The weight of the...
Weight is down. That's gravity. As soon as you say weight, you're evoking gravity. That's down.
Correct.
Weight is down.
Correct.
Weight is
Correct.
down. Gas isn't going down. That's about the 10th time I've told you. So you're going to infer gravity by this use of weight. Weight being down 9.8 meters per second. Gas isn't doing that.
If we take a pile of bricks and...
Oh, it's bricks now. So not gas anymore, not boats anymore, but bricks. A solid. So gas isn't going down, but if we look at bricks, they are when they move through gas.
But when you have a pile of bricks, the bottom...
Pile of bricks isn't gas. Where do we get the gas pressure from? Well, if we think of it as being bricks, it'll move through itself. Down.
More.
Right? Gas
Yeah.
isn't bricks. Unbonded? Hello? Bricks are bonded. They're not like gas.
A hot air balloon is less dense than the air around it.
So density. Yeah, we've already covered this. It's not gravity. It's less dense.
And therefore, it floats relative to the air around it.
Yeah, that's relative density disequilibrium that you're describing, not gravity.
You keep bringing it up density.
Why
every
does that
time you want
relative
to talk about
density and
gravity.
disequilibrium go
Dude.
away when I remove...
Sorry, why are you asking us about why relative density disequilibrium goes away when that has nothing to do with anything in the heliocentric model that uses gravity? That would be a downward vector, 9.8 meters per second. Relative density is our argument.
When I put an airplane in a parabolic curve, relative density stops working.
Sorry, relative density is what we're describing with relation to gas, and where you get the pressure with a sky vacuum. Answer, you don't.
If I put a helium balloon in a container...
Sorry, a helium balloon? So balloons are gas, are they?
If I put...
Balloons are gas, are they?
If I put...
A balloon, that stretched piece of solid, that's gas, is it?
No, of course not.
No, so why the fuck are you telling me about what a balloon does when it's solid?
Then let's...
So gas would expand in all directions. So inside the container of the balloon, the gas isn't pooling at the bottom of the balloon, is it? So the gas expands in all directions equally into the container, which is the balloon. Correct?
And if I take a container, which is...
So we're going to need a container then. So Earth's got a container then.
And I remove...
So if
gravity.
we've got a container, so Earth has got containment.
I'm trying to establish that buoyancy doesn't work relative...
Buoyancy assumes gravity. I've already told you that. Buoyancy is the assumption that gas goes down to force other gases up. That's buoyancy. It's an assumption of gravity with a downward vector. So no! That's about the, sixth time I've told you that buoyancy assumes gravity? It's a layer of gas pressing down when gas is inhomogeneous, an anisotropic mixture. Not going down.
Listening to you, Nathan.
The behavior of gases, solids, things of relative densities changes from what we observe on the surface of the Earth when we put an airplane in a parabolic curve and remove gravity.
Remove gravity?
What?
How do you remove gravity?
Sorry, gravity is an assumption of a downward vector 9.8 meters per second. Gas doesn't do that. End of argument.
When I put a gas in a parabolic curve...
So it's in a plane in a container then. So we're in a container.
Oh, it could be an open
if
cockpit
it's in the
aircraft.
parabolic curve, it's
sorry,
moving.
it could be an open cockpit aeroplane.
They do exist.
And gas in an open cockpit aeroplane, that will stay inside the plane. You think a fucking fart carries along in the sky with the pilot, do you? Or does it disperse with entropy?
It stays in that cockpit for a second.
Does it really? So it doesn't abide by gas law and disperse with time, entropy, so you're a fucking entropy denier.
No,
Just laugh it up, bitch. So you are in fact an entropy denier.
Absolutely not.
So gas expands in all directions. It's called entropy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what gas will do, expand in all directions. Absolutely, yes.
Within the available container.
Within the container, yeah. Within the availability of volume it has to fill, yeah.
So why did you say the fart would stay in the cockpit?
And the pressure, it stays for a while.
What pressure? Where do we get this pressure from? Where do we get it from?
So if we have a sealed container...
So Earth's a sealed container?
Yeah, let's say it is.
Okay, well then bye-bye globe Earth claim. Heliocentric model is an open system next to a vacuum, not a sealed container. Welcome to flat Earth.
If we have a... Okay, fine.
Okay, fine. So we're in a sealed container. Yeah, we know that because we've got gas pressure. Your fundy worldview on a sphere doesn't have that.
Why does gas...
Sorry, why are you asking me something? Do you want to acknowledge what I've just stated? Your fundy sphere belief does not have containment. Your example that you're now about to launch into has containment. So we're conceding, you are conceding, that Earth must have containment then, for this example to make sense.
For the purposes of moving the discussion forward, I am temporarily conceding that the Earth is contained, yes.
Welcome to flat Earth. Temporarily conceding? No, it must be, because we've got gas pressure. That's the end of your argument. Sorry, that's the end of your time here. Your claim is that we've got a sky vacuum and an open system on a sphere Earth. The moment you say, well, let's just assume that it's, for the sake of argument, contained. No, it must be for us to have gas pressure. You explaining how we'd have that gas pressure with a sky vacuum hasn't come our way. What has is you conceding that we must.
Right.
Right. So welcome to flat Earth. The sky is not a vacuum. The gas would fill the space.
Very good. I live on a flat Earth and...
Welcome to flat Earth.
Very good. I accept this.
Excellent. Good. So, given that you've just accepted that you live on a flat Earth, why on unholy hell would you come in here and assume that you could win Bitcoin? With a sphere proof?
So now, as I go up in that sealed container...
Sorry, why did you think you'd win Bitcoin? You've just admitted you live on a flat plane and conceded we're contained.
For the purposes of the argument, yeah.
For the purposes of argument that you've lost because you can't explain how we'd have gas pressure in a sphere world that doesn't have containment. That's you losing the argument. Space is fake.
We have a pressure lapse rate in the atmosphere.
Yeah, that's because we have pressure to begin with.
Gas.
Yeah, that's because we have pressure.
If we have a gas in a...
Yeah, then we've got to have a container.
If we have a gas in...
Then we must have containment if it's got a pressure.
If we have gas in a...
Then we must have containment for it to be at pressure.
Correct.
Yes, so that's the end of your fucking argument.
So what we do...
So why not stutter like a bitch? Your world on a sphere has no containment. End of your time here. You're supposed to be proving that we're in a heliocentric world with a sky vacuum?
Gonna finish.
What, completely annihilating your own belief in a sphere with a sky vacuum?
Yeah, let me fuck myself some more.
Go ahead.
All right, beautiful. So we have a sealed container, which the gas is expanded to fill, and that's where we're getting our pressure from. In a sealed container, when a gas is in a sealed container...
Which Earth isn't, therefore annihilating the claim of heliocentrism.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, well, that's the end of your time here. You're on the globe side. That's the end of your argument. Anything else you say from this point on is benign, unimportant, insignificant, because we don't have a sky vacuum. Every claim of pictures from space, space travel, everything to do with the heliocentric model dies the moment you concede that we need containment to be breathing. It's the end of your time here.
Please, sir, can I finish?
Suck my balls. Your time is over. Your time's over.
Finish.
How do you concede your argument in order to progress your argument?
When we have...
That makes no sense.
When we have... Please, may I finish?
Dude, how do you concede your whole argument in order to try to progress the very same argument?
Please,
how do you do that?
I finish?
Why should we listen to you any further than now? You've already conceded your whole argument.
I finished.
You're going to now use our argument to make your argument? What?
When we have gas, because I'm getting to the nub of something and you guys are preventing me from doing it. When we have gas in a sealed container, the pressure of that gas is the same throughout the container.
That's not true.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Never heard of a dynamic system? You never heard of the water cycle?
Goodness.
Sorry, you never heard of the water cycle? You were taught it in about 6th grade.
Did you know that with temperature?
Let's just try that once more. Try it once more. You've never heard of a dynamic system? For example, as taught to you in 6th grade, the water cycle. Have you never heard of this? Are you under the misapprehension that Earth will reach equilibrium when we in fact have dynamic systems you were taught about in early high school?
So the pressure changes in a dynamic system don't go from 14 pounds per square inch to 0.
No, and 0 is your claim of a sky vacuum. 10 to the minus 17 torr to be exact. That doesn't happen, that's correct. So you are further annihilating your own claim then. No, that's right. Gas in a sealed system doesn't go to 0.
It also doesn't go to the... It also doesn't go to the pressures that we observe when we send a balloon to 120,000 feet.
It doesn't do that. So when the balloons go up to 120,000 feet and do exactly that, they don't do that.
Not in a sealed container, it doesn't.
So, sorry, we must be contained to have gas pressure.
So why doesn't the...
Sorry, you seem to be asking me a question again about DITRH, ignoring the fact that your question is asked after you've annihilated the claim of space. To have gas pressure, we must be contained. And you're saying, well, given that we're contained, how does XYZ happens? Who gives a shit? We're contained to have gas pressure, therefore space is fake. Everything else is irrelevant.
Gas expands to fill the available space.
So space is fake because gas expands to fill space.
To fill the available size of the container.
Yeah, So the available size of the container in a heliocentric world is all of outer space. So gas would fill all of outer space. We'd all be dead.
So
space is fake.
Gas in a sealed container. I'm struggling to understand how we can have the lapse rate that we actually observe in the atmosphere.
Who cares? Sorry. In the what now? The sphere-shaped air. We don't have sphere-shaped. Hello. You asked me a question. I'm now responding to you. In the atmosphere, the sphere-shaped air. No. We don't have sphere-shaped air.
We have a sealed container.
Yeah, welcome to Flat Earth.
In that sealed container
lies the death of outer space.
Whatever it
does, it destroys space. Because, as you correctly point out, and I quote, gas fills available space.
Excellent.
So if space was an available space, gas would fill it.
Not if gravity...
Not if gravity, gas go down, go boom, boom. Maybe, I don't know, this is the 11th time you've circle-jerked around that gas that expands in all directions and is created at ground level is actually going down. Which gas is created in the sky? None of them. Which gas is going down, go boom, boom like bouncy balls? Well, bricks and boats are. But gas isn't.
So is every air molecule.
Yeah, what, expanding in all directions?
Expanding in all directions.
Not down, go boom, boom with gravity, then.
Expanding in all directions.
Not down, go boom, boom, then. Not down with gravity, 9.8 meters per second, as you begged the question of.
Yes, it is.
No. It's moving in all directions. Gravity's down, 9.8 meters per second. If it's moving up, it's not moving down. Thicko. Yeah, you keep asserting that gas that's moving up is actually moving down 9.8 meters per second when you beg the question of gravity.
Gases aren't pooling up at my feet.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. They expand in all directions.
You're sitting at the very bottom of a massive ocean of air.
Yeah, which must mean we've got containment. Because without the containment, there'd be no pressure.
You say...
I say we need containment. You also say we need containment. The heliocentric model says there's no containment.
I say we...
Laugh it up! You say there's containment. I say there's containment. You've got some questions about the containment. I don't care about your questions. I care that you've annihilated the claim that space is real.
I have attempted to continue to move the discussion forward
by
temporarily accepting your premise that the Earth is a sealed container.
No, that's a fact. Without the container, there can be no pressure. If you don't accept that as a fact, maybe if it's just a concession for the sake of argument, you could just not concede it and show me gas pressure without a container beyond your fundamentalist religious belief that the sky is a vacuum. Can you show me gas pressure without containment, please?
Yeah, demonstrate it for us, because I would love to see this.
Absolutely. If you take one air molecule that has a mass and that is attracted to the surface of the Earth.
Sorry, it isn't. Gas isn't attracted to the surface of Earth. Why are you begging the question? So if we take a gas particle and automatically assume that it's going to fall 9.8 meters per second, gas doesn't do that.
So the very...
Laugh it up. So you've just started by saying if we take a gas that's attracted to Earth with gravity, gas doesn't do that. Hello? Gas doesn't do that.
Well, I have to disagree with you there.
So gas does go down, go boom, boom, 9.8 meters per second. Can you show me gas pressure without a container?
It does when there's only one molecule, yes.
Oh, really? So if I release one molecule of gas into a chamber, you think it'll sit on the fucking ground when it moves at high velocities in all directions and only changes its vector when it collides with something? You think it'll actually sit on the floor? Yeah, that'll be a no then, you stupid clown. No, gas moves at high velocities. It doesn't sit on the ground if there's only one of them, you stupid idiot. Hey, Dave. Hey, Dearth, is this the best you can send us? Yeah, not much of a challenge, Dearth. This guy's a complete fuckwit. He definitely ain't getting any Bitcoin.
You don't even want to get a chocolate coin.
Brother, were you about to tell us that you put one air molecule in a vacuum chamber, it would just sit on the floor?
No, but it was.
No, so you're a stupid shithead. No. So when you said it, you're just talking complete idiocy. Just talking moronic nonsense when you said that then.
Into space.
So when you said it, actually no.
It won't escape into space.
Sorry, it won't escape into space when it's in a container? Yeah, that's right. If it wasn't in a container, it would escape into space because it's an availability of volume for the gas. Ergo, space is fake.
No, it would not.
No, it wouldn't. So what would it do? Go down, go boom, boom?
Escape into space. It would not escape into space.
Yeah, it would. Gas expands in all directions into whatever space it's got. You said that earlier to us.
And?
Sorry, you said to us that gas would fill space.
Force of gravity.
Sorry, you said gas would fill space. Gas isn't going down, go boom, boom with 9.8 meters a second force of gravity. That's not what gas is doing. We keep telling you, but you keep asserting that gas that expands in all directions is actually going down. It isn't.
If it's being acted upon by the force of gravity, it will...
It isn't. There is no force of gravity. Gravity is not a force. End quote, George Musa, Scientific American. He's an astronomer.
Very good.
Very good. You just said, if it's going down with a force of gravity. I'll quote George Musa from Scientific American again. Quote, gravity is not a force, end quote. Did you understand that?
Something's attracting things.
How about Brian Cox? There isn't really a force of gravity at all. Do you want to tell me about how the force of gas going down go boom boom again with gravity? Because it isn't a force. Brian Cox not good enough? Maybe George Musa's not good enough. Just tell me it's a force again.
What? So there's a massive...
Maybe you need to ask me a question. You just said gravity's a force. It isn't. You're wrong.
Something is causing things to fall to the surface of the...
What, gas? Gas is falling to the surface and making puddles? Something's causing that, is there? Oh, right. Yeah, shit. I must trouble myself with what's causing the gas to form puddles.
But if you're saying gravity exists, why won't that single air molecule just sit on the floor in the vacuum chamber? If you're saying gravity exists.
It has motion. Because it has energy.
Why doesn't it do that?
If you cool it to absolute zero, it will.
Oh, does that happen? Where does gas achieve absolute zero? Ever? Where does that happen?
Oh, man.
So unless it reaches absolute zero, it'll carry on in whatever vector it's got. So when it hits the thermosphere, in your fundy belief, does it get to absolute zero in the thermosphere?
So actually, this is an interesting concept. So if we put an air molecule...
We're not talking about concepts. We're talking about the fake space. I don't want to know about your concept.
And that air molecule bounces off the walls of the container. Each time it bounces off the wall of the container, it gives up a little energy.
No, it doesn't. There's elastic collisions. You're a fucking idiot. You don't know how gas behaves. What's an elastic collision? You just said it gives off a bit of energy. Describe elastic collisions. Go. Describe elastic collisions.
Look, you and I both understand that.
So describe it. You've just said it gives off a little bit of energy when it strikes the container. Now describe elastic collisions. Now describe elastic collisions. Something that pisses in the face of that statement.
So why does gas...
So why are you asking me a question? Describe elastic collisions. We both know what they are. Now you're going to define them.
Gas at a higher temperature than the surrounding...
You just said it gives off a bit of energy when it strikes the container. That's wrong. You ever going to concede, you slimy little shit?
A gas in a...
Laugh it up! I need you to concede your bullshit error.
A gas in...
Sorry, your bullshit error that gas gives off some energy when it strikes a container. That's wrong.
A gas in a...
Sorry, elastic collisions. You're just going to ignore this indefinitely?
Will cool to the surrounding...
Sorry, you said it loses energy to its container when it strikes it. Do you remember
Energy
saying
must
that?
be being
Sorry, do you remember saying what you said that I'm refuting and you're ignoring?
gas.
Sorry, you said it loses energy to the container when it strikes it. Do you remember saying that?
It cools to the surrounding temperature of the container. Why?
Sorry, you said it loses energy when it strikes the container. Do you recall saying this, yes or no?
Yes.
That's wrong. Gas has elastic collisions. You are a fuckwit. Do you hear me, fuckwit? Whoever's in G+, shut up. Do you hear me, fuckwit? Elastic collisions.
Very good.
Very good, meaning what you said was wrong. So by very good, you mean you were wrong. You mean you were wrong? It's okay. It's the taste of a flat earther's balls that you're struggling with. So when you said it strikes the container and gives off some energy to it, you were, in fact, a fuckwit. Correct? It's okay. It's just a flat earther educating you, dumbass. You just need to say, yes, Mr. Flat Earther, I am indeed a fuckwit. When I say gas loses energy to its container when it strikes it, that makes you a fuckwit.
All right. Yes, Mr. Flat Earther, I'm a fuckwit.
Yeah. Hey, that's what they get reduced to, Dave, when they come here. They think they're going to get Bitcoin out of you, but when they're here, they thank me and admit to being a fuckwit.
So
now you can fuck off. So now, fuckwit, we don't converse with fuckwits. Go and find another group of people who tolerate fuckwits.
We have a gas.
We don't tolerate fuckwits. You are a self-confessed fuckwit. You are a self-confessed fuckwit. Now go away, fuckwit. We don't want to converse with you anymore. You're a fuckwit.
Have a gas container, which is at a higher temperature than its surroundings, and that temperature will drop over time.
Fascinating. So space is fake and we need containment.
Can I just comment on the straw man he's trying to build here? He's trying to build a straw man where he's trying to claim an energy exchange by starting it out in disequilibrium. But if we have this gas molecule and we're going to keep all things constant, then they're in equilibrium, and there will be no energy exchange with the walls at that point. They will be elastic because they're already in equilibrium. And if you just left it for a little bit, if there was a slight bit, there might be a slight change until equilibrium's reached. Then we get to the point, which is what we were talking about, not that little bit of straw man you tried to paint there. What's going to happen to the gas molecule? Will it just go winging round forever if everything stays in equilibrium, or will it slow down and eventually just sit at the bottom of the container? Because that's your fundamentals of your claim, which is absolutely shocking and embarrassing, really, but understandable listening to the amount of cognitive pain I've heard this afternoon.
Oh, if our chamber with the one molecule in it is sitting on an Earth with no other air molecules on it, and there's no energy from the sun heating it up, then what you've just described is exactly what will happen over time, because the equilibrium is absolute zero.
Fascinating. And that's what we experience here, is it?
Yeah, he said we live in the chamber.
Sorry, so that's what we experience, is it?
We were saying, you're asking me why the air molecules don't escape into space.
No, I didn't say that. I said they would escape into space if it was an area of volume, and you said that gas fills space. Your words were, gas fills space.
So the very first...
Sorry, your words were gas fills space, weren't they?
Correct.
Right, so gas would fill space. So why are you telling me that it's somehow my argument when it's actually your argument? You made it clear gas fills space. So gas would fill space. So space would be a space for gas to fill, and gas would fill it according to you.
The very first molecule that comes out of the volcano or wherever it comes from onto an Earth with absolutely no other air molecules around it will come out of that volcano, bounce off the first thing it hits, and continue moving until such time as it's acted upon by another force, which, since there are no other air molecules, is not a collision with another air molecule, but is its mass being attracted towards the mass of the Earth.
It's not attracted to the mass of Earth. It came out of the ground and went up. Why would you say that it's attracted to Earth? It isn't.
I say it is.
So it comes out of the ground. So it comes out of the ground, and according to what you've just stated, unless it strikes something, it's just going to carry on in that direction. There's nothing to impede it, right?
There is something to impede it. There's the acceleration of gravity.
Right. Gravity acceleration would be a force. Quote, George Musa, gravity is not a force, end quote. Professor Brian Cox, there isn't really a force of gravity at all, end quote. So when you say it comes out of the ground, goes in the vector that it's travelling, but then eventually goes down, go boom, boom, that isn't what gas does. Keep explaining that to you. According to you, it will expand into whatever space it's got. So that's what it will do. Space is a space, so gas would fill it. End of space.
How did it ever come out of the ground if gravity was holding it?
Good point.
Laugh it up. Answer his question. If it's being held to the ground, inside the fucking ground, how did it ever get out? It's going down, right? Nothing to impede it.
Well, because we are just trying to use...
Why are you laughing?
Why are you laughing? Gas comes out of the ground. Then, according to you, once it's left the ground that apparently has got a force stopping it from doing it, how the hell does it leave? It's going down, right? 9.8 meters per second. It's subject to the force on Earth. How the fuck did it leave the ground?
It's formed by some chemical process in the ground. It's given energy by whatever temperature the Earth's surface has when it was formed. And it escapes I mean, it didn't happen like this, but we're trying to use one molecule
Something
to
that
describe
didn't happen.
how the first molecule came, then the second, the third, the fourth, and how we've ended up with this massive ocean of air that we have.
Next to a vacuum of space.
He's describing the rebellious gas particles. Unreal. Bro, if gravity exists, how did it ever come out of the ground is the question. It's going up when it comes out of the ground, right? You're saying gravity exists. Why would it go up ever?
It had, when it was created, it had a heat energy and it had, it was moving.
That's not what you said last time.
It was bouncing around there inside of that. It was bouncing around inside the volcano.
That's not what you said earlier. When I asked you why helium went up, you said the gases around it forced it up because they were going down.
Correct. We only have one air molecule.
Yeah, so what's making it go up? The gases around it forcing it down, right? They're going down to force it up, right? Laugh it up, you fucking retard globe-believing bitch! So what's causing it to go up again? The gases around it that aren't there moving down? No.
It's moving. It's moving, so it
and according to you a moment ago, earlier on the show, you said the reason for that was because the gases around it forced it up with buoyancy.
Two different analogies. We're talking, previously we were talking...
Oh, I see. So when gas is going up, generally speaking, it's buoyancy, which is obviously begging the question of gravity. But when it's the first gas particle to ever exist, then it just happily goes up of its own volition in defiance of gravity. No need for buoyancy to explain why it's going up then.
It doesn't. It falls back down again.
Oh, I see. So gas comes out of the ground and immediately just falls over and rolls along the ground? You fucking idiot.
If it's cold, that's exactly
Oh, really? You think cold gases roll around in chambers? Even if you got as close as is humanly possible to absolute zero, the gas would still move around in whatever chamber it's got free.
It would, but it...
Yeah! So it wouldn't fucking go to the ground then, you stupid clown!
It also wouldn't...
No, it wouldn't go to the ground then. So your example of it coming out of the ground and then just gravity just pulls it around, it rolls out like a fucking marble. No, it won't do that. You've just admitted that it won't do that.
it also won't escape into space.
Yeah, it will. You said specifically gas-filled space. That's what you said.
Unless it's acted upon by another.
Force, which gravity isn't. Force, which is down, which gas isn't doing.
So the Cavendish experiment is...
So we're going to move on from your gas, go down, go boom boom, to Cavendish experiment.
Masses don't attract?
No. Hello? No, they don't. You put a gas particle into a chamber and it bounces around all over the place. Doesn't go to the ground. No. Gas has mass, it's not going down. So no.
If mass is attracted, then that first molecule would never have come up.
If mass attracts mass, then the gas particle would be attracted to the vast mass of Earth and never escape, would it? Because it would be attracted to Earth. Right, so it would never escape.
So then the second molecule is produced in the volcano.
Sorry, the first hasn't been produced yet. What do you mean the second? You haven't got the first. It hasn't escaped Earth's gravity yet.
Yeah, it's sitting in the bottom of the volcano.
Oh, I see. So gas just rolling around on the surface of Earth, not abiding by gas laws. Not doing what gas does.
Well,
that's stupid, yeah. That's stupid.
We're
Yeah, that's stupid. You and your statements are stupid.
What causes delta?
Why are you asking me what a delta is when you haven't got the original gas pressure if you've got a sky vacuum? Quote, gas-filled space, end quote, you.
What? So what?
Yeah, gas-filled space, you. That's what you said. So gas will fill space.
Absolutely no explanation for delta pressure, but it is...
Sorry, we need gas pressure in the first place to have a delta of it, though, don't we? And your heliocentric world doesn't provide for that gas pressure because you don't have a container. So why are you appealing to delta X when you can't get X on a sphere?
So then I have to accept your premise of a...
No, gas requires a container. It's not my premise. It's a fact. It's a necessary antecedent.
Very good.
Yeah, so it's not my premise.
How do we get...
It's not my premise. It's a necessary antecedent.
How do we get...
Don't ask me something. Acknowledge that you keep positioning this as my concept. No, it's not my premise. It's a fact. To have gas pressure, you require the antecedent of containment. Otherwise, and I quote, gas fills space.
I would like to know how we get the levels of delta pressure that we actually observe in a sea.
Because we've got a container.
And how do we get...
You can't have gas pressure without a container, so you can't have a gas pressure delta without a container. So container.
How do we get the sealed... How do we get
Do you know
the
what the
observed
definition of gas pressure is?
in a sealed container?
As soon as you acknowledge that we're in a sealed container, we're not on a sphere in a sky vacuum.
Agreed.
Right. So you, as a globe-defending retard, have no further place here. You just want to know what's what after you've figured out that the sky's not a vacuum. All right, I'm not going to tell you anything. You don't deserve any information from me. You can bugger off and find out for yourself what the sky is. You can bugger off for yourself and find it out. Now that you have acknowledged that we need containment to be breathing, that's the end of sky vacuum. Nothing else matters.
Delta pressure, how does...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We've got pressure, therefore containment. End of sky vacuum. Further to that, you can go and bugger off and find out how dynamic systems work.
He came here with the sextant argument, lost that one. He's lost every single argument since then. He's converted to flat earth with every conversation he's had, and he still wants to talk?
I didn't come here with a sextant argument, actually.
Well, that's the beginning of the show.
Because somebody talked about they just unboxed a sextant, and we started talking about it. But that isn't what I came here with. But
and you said...
When I observe... Okay. All right, so I took a driving trip, if we want to talk about sextants some more. I took a driving trip, and I observed Polaris at 45 degrees above the horizon. How far away from Polaris was I when I observed that?
Sorry, hold on. 45 degrees above the horizon. So you measured that straight line
45 degrees.
to get that 45-degree angle then. Not possible on a
45.
sphere. Not, well, maybe if you just chant through my response to you, it won't need addressing. So you got a straight line to the horizon to measure the angle with straight lines at 45 degrees to Polaris. What you did when you made that measurement isn't possible on a curved surface.
Well, I actually didn't use a sextant. I used my cell phone. But okay, so I measure an angle of 45 degrees. Whether it's a flat or a curved surface.
No, it can't be a curved surface. Why have you just ignored everything I've just said?
Okay, I can't do it on a curved surface.
End of your argument. That's correct. You can't do this sextant measurement to get 45 degrees with straight lines on a curved surface. That's correct. Welcome to Flat Earth.
But I did actually measure.
You measured straight lines. So you haven't got those on a globe. So welcome to Flat Earth. You are measuring an angle with a straight line utilizing the horizon and a straight line to it. Definitely not 8 inches per mile squared to the horizon. Definitely not a curved surface. You use straight lines. Welcome to Flat Earth.
So if Polaris is...
So why are you carrying on with your example? This can't be done on a curved surface. You couldn't get that 45-degree angle measurement on a curve.
That's actually demonstrably not. That's actually demonstrably not true. But
Oh, really? So if the horizon's Earth curve, and represented by way of a drop from your position, 8 inches per mile squared in every direction, how the hell did you get a straight line? Also, considering you've begged the question of atmosphere, that would be sphere-shaped air with atmospheric refraction, never a straight line to anything. How did you get the straight line for the 45-degree angle on a sphere?
I measured a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, we know that.
Relative to perpendicular.
Right, relative to perpendicular, that's what you were looking at when you looked at the horizon, was it?
No.
So what's the 45-degree angle between what and what? Because you said above the horizon. I listened to what you said.
Level. I used the level in my cell phone.
And? So you're saying your cell phone represented level from your position to the horizon?
It
Stutter for me, bitch! So what you're saying you got level from is from where you are, a straight line with your level on your phone, to the horizon to give you the 45-degree straight lines.
I measured 45 degrees to the surface of the Earth I was standing on.
So a flat line on the surface of Earth.
Call it a flat line if you...
It is a flat line. That's what gave you your 45-degree angle. It's a fact. Don't call it a flat line. It is.
Hello?
So I'm not calling it a straight flat line. It is.
So you say.
No, you said you measured an angle with it.
Again for the...
Sorry, you said you measured an angle with it. Are you now saying that you got that 45 degrees from a curve? Or was it a straight line that gave you that?
For the purposes of the discussion...
Sorry, you seem to be chanting through me rather than acknowledge that you kind of imply that I'm just saying you need a straight line to get 45 degrees in your example. Fact, it was a straight line that gave you that 45 degrees.
Once I've...
Maybe ignore me. Not what I'm saying, it's a fact. You said 45 degrees. Fact, that requires two straight lines.
Okay.
Yeah, so not curved between you and the horizon. Not curved to give you a straight line for 45 degrees. Straight and flat. Fact. That's how you got that 45-degree measurement from a flat Earth. Couldn't have been done on a curved surface. So when you say, regardless of whether it's curved or flat, no, to get a straight line for a 45-degree measurement, it must be flat. It can't be curved. So not regardless of, it is flat for you to do this.
Then let's go to the next step.
What, now you've conceded that it's flat? You just need to say yes, straight, flat line to the horizon.
straight flat line to the horizon.
Welcome to Flat Earth. This can't be done on a sphere. There is absolutely no point in you continuing this argument. Yeah, that's right. To make this angle measurement that you're claiming in the first instance, you've debunked the curved surface.
Let's take it to the next step then.
Next level, there isn't one. You've already debunked a curved surface because you couldn't have got this 45-degree angle measurement with straight lines if it was curved.
How far from Polaris?
Sorry, why are you asking me something? You couldn't have got the 45-degree measurement if Earth was a sphere.
The observations that I take with a sextant
require a flat plane because they're using straight lines.
Oh.
Sorry, was that a hand wave?
How far?
Was that a hand wave?
So-
Did you say no? Explain. Sorry, explain where you got the first straight line from. Sorry, 45
What is the
degrees from a
altitude?
baseline. Hello? You said you got
What is
45
the
degrees.
altitude?
Hello? 45 degrees to Polaris, you said. So one of those
Is-
lines is the baseline. That's straight and flat. You just said, let's move on.
Please.
So why are you asking me something when I'm clearly trying to get you to concede that to get an angle, it must be flat?
I've drawn. Okay. I'd like to move on.
And well, that's tough shit. Because you've described a 45-degree angle until you concede that you must have a flat surface and a flat baseline and straight lines to get an angle at all, we can't move on. Because this point annihilates the globe. Because you can't use this tool on a curved surface. Cat got your tongue?
Man.
Cat got your tongue? Ask to move on again. Ask if you can move on. Ask if you can move on.
Beg to differ, but
you hate to differ. Describe how you get a 45-degree angle. That's two straight lines meeting at a vertex on a curve.
In order to...
Sorry, you just disagreed with me. I beg to differ, you said. Well, if you beg to differ, you better damn well explain yourself. How you got 45 degrees if one of the lines is bent. Go.
In order to move the conversation forward...
You need to tell us how you got 45 degrees from a bent line. Go. You didn't, did you, shithead? Yeah, you can't. It requires straight flat line. Fact. That's what an angle is. Two straight lines meeting at a vertex. That's what you need to get this 45 degrees you described. What should we move on from your claim that annihilates the globe and needs a flat surface? Maybe chant through it. Chant through it. Chant straight through it.
In order to move on, then, we have to accept that the Earth is flat.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome to Flat Earth. In order for us to explain anything further with the sextant, we must accept that Earth is flat. That is absolutely correct.
For the purposes of discussion, I will accept that. Now,
you've got no purpose in arguing with us then. If you're going to accept that it's flat, then we are on the same side. There is no argument.
The problem is that...
There is no problem.
That I take...
No, there's no problem. You took an angle measurement with a sextant. That requires a flat plane.
The problem is all yours, buddy.
Yeah, it's not our problem. Problem is you can't get a 45-degree angle if you've got a curve between you and the horizon at 8 inches per mile squared. You haven't got a straight line anymore. To get this angle with a vertex that is two straight lines meeting, you need the baseline to measure its degree above the horizon to be flat. So it's flat.
So let's jump into your reality.
That's not reality, that's a fact. To do the 45-degree angle you're claiming, it must be flat. Fact.
I accept that the Earth is flat.
Okay, then go away.
So
go away.
Welcome.
You came here to get Bitcoin to prove it's a sphere.
Chris?
Sorry, you were here to get Bitcoin to prove it was a sphere. Now, you accept that it's flat. So your time here is done.
So is Polaris...
Don't ask me anything. Your time here is done. I haven't got anything to offer you.
According to all of the videos I've watched...
So what, stereotyping fallacy? Stereotyping fallacy. So a stereotyping fallacy then.
The Earth...
Sorry, you're going to now carry on with this stereotyping fallacy based on all the videos you've watched?
I'm trying to...
To build a little stereotyping fallacy about all the other people and their claims.
Trying to talk about some observations that I...
That I haven't claimed. That I
And
haven't
they-
claimed.
and-
That I haven't claimed. Other videos from other people, that's a straw man stereotyping fallacy. Second time you've used it here.
Okay.
Not okay. A logical fallacy employed by the globe defender who has conceded Earth is flat.
Can I please?
I don't
Take
understand
the
how you
next
come
step
here
in
and
the
concede
argument.
every argument
the
you
Earth
make
is
and then
flat-
want to just continue flapping your gums. I don't understand how you think that's cool. Are you
If
serious?
the Earth is,
Dude,
and
dude,
I measure an
I don't
angle of
understand how
45
you
degrees.
want to continue to speak when you have conceded every argument you have made. How are you trying to do that? Is that
Because
logical
I'm
to
a
you?
fuckwit, I guess.
Yeah,
Because what?
because he's a fuckwit.
Now-
Well, that's your concession. Sorry
No,
that you're a
So
fuckwit.
why are you doing it? What are your priorities here? After everything that's happened, there has to be some kind of a decision-making mechanism as to how to proceed from that point on. Like, what are your priorities here? You've conceded everything. Why are you continuing? We don't understand.
And how are you not understanding that in order to progress your very argument, and you have to make a concession to do so, destroys the very reason you're here.
So, if I could finish this discussion about the sextant,
Why? You've already conceded it's flat Earth.
because
That was the point of
Because the
talking about the
measurements-
sextant, right?
because the measurements that I took
On a flat
are
Earth.
difficult to reconcile with a flat Earth.
Sorry, to take the measurements in the first place, it had to be flat.
Yeah.
So you said,
No. That's what a straight flat line is. When you got your angle, to get an angle, it has to be flat. I've asked you repeatedly, if it's curved, where'd you get the angle from? Answer.
I got the angle from
don't.
vertical. I got the angle from vertical compared to the surface I was standing on.
So when you said it was 45 degrees above the horizon, why did you describe it like that?
Because it's
Because you're claiming to have measured it after describing owning a sextant and then describing a straight flat line to the horizon and the star, in this case Polaris, being 45 degrees above it. Yes, so you've got a straight line to the horizon, and then you've got a straight line to Polaris, and then you've got an angle that measures in between those two straight lines at 45 degrees. So the bottom line to the horizon is straight and flat. So this can only be measured if it's flat. Fact. You're saying you're having some trouble reconciling it after that. You wouldn't have the measurement in the first place unless it was flat.
on a curved globe.
You wouldn't be able to take this measurement. You would only have one of the straight lines. One of them would be curved.
There's
Sorry, you wouldn't be able to make this angle measurement. Second time I'm saying it, ignore it, I would. Hello?
So, for the purposes of moving the conversation forward, I am temporarily accepting your premise and...
Sorry, my premise isn't a premise, it's a fact. To measure 45 degrees from the horizon to the star, for you to assert that it's 45 degrees above the horizon, requires a straight line. That's not a premise, that is a fact.
You are
That's a fact.
stopping me at every...
Yeah, because you keep implying that it's some premise that I've postulated. It isn't. It's a fact.
And I am willing, for the purposes of the discussion,
But it's not for the purposes of the discussion, it's a fact. It's not a fact within this discussion, it's just a fact.
Okay, it's a fact.
Right, so not for the purposes of the discussion, to measure an angle to any star, it must be flat. Fact. Couldn't get an angle otherwise.
Very good.
Yep, that's right, must be flat. Don't seem to be explaining how you get that measurement from a curved surface.
Very
If
good.
you already
Can't.
know, if you already know it's the cause of the angle, why do you want to
Now.
pretend?
Now,
No, now.
if
Very good.
Polaris-
Now let's start over
if
again.
If Polaris is in fact 3,000 feet above the Earth plane,
Who's claimed that?
What?
Who's claimed that? Hello, straw man burning asshole. Who claimed that?
no,
No, just give me a name Who put that to you here today?
Okay, so where is...
So, straw man burning asshole. I'll ask again. Who made that claim?
Where is Polaris?
Sorry, who made that claim?
In order for me to make...
Sorry, who made the claim of 3,000 mile Polaris? Who made that claim? Straw man burning asshole.
If I am...
Sorry, you're not going to answer me about the straw man that you're attempting to burn?
I am to make sense of the observation I took of Polaris.
I don't give a fuck what you do with the observation you took of Polaris when you used a straight line to do so. That proved it's flat. Who made the claim? Sorry, my friend, all I'm trying to do is ascertain why you've burnt yet another straw man.
I then drove...
You're just ignoring me.
Distance,
You're just ignoring me. Why are you ignoring me? You're so rude.
And I
You're so rude.
Polaris
You're so rude.
Different
You're so rude. Why are you so rude? Why are you ignoring me?
Can I finish?
You could answer my question.
Repeat the question.
Nah, just fuck off. I'm sick of you.
Yeah, you've already admitted you can't get an angle without a straight line, and now you want to go into La La Land.
Right. With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat. I'm really sorry I didn't read them out while I was in the thick of debate, but a massive thank you to all you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either Premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!